these people know. These people know.
Who knows?
The governments know. This has been well planned. This is Agenda 2030. This is the Great Reset.
Somebody mentioned to go onto Google and go into the news section and then type in "died suddenly." And lo and behold, here's a whole listing of people, of articles, of people within that last week who died suddenly. Older people, but a lot of younger people around the world.
And then you find out they were vaccinated. And it's just there's something different about the blood. Something's causing this. Somebody needs to look into it. I talked to other embalmers that have 30, 40, even 50 years of experience. Have you guys ever seen this stuff before? And the answer was always, I've never seen anything like it.
U.S. life insurance companies have reported an overwhelming and unexplainable increase in all-cause deaths among 18 to 49-year-olds.
That's a 12 sigma event, 1 in 800 years, 12 standard deviations above the mean.
No one's even calculated that. It's apocalyptic.
Who knows? Young people are dying these days.
This is different. This isn't normal.
The dead can't speak for themselves, so therefore, I have to speak for them.
This is the greatest orchestrated die-off in the history of the world.
The probability that you're going to be maimed, you're going to be injured for life, you're going to be killed, is going to increase with every booster. And I don't care what these people say. If they want to get boosted, let them get boosted. I am just saying that I hope and I pray that they don't get their children boosted, because their children are going to be maimed and killed.
I had to search the bowels of hell, but I found someone.
In terms of the booster mandate, where will the line be drawn? Can Territorians expect that there's going to be a mandate put in place now every time they are required to get a booster?
And I would say the safest thing to assume, until we know any different,
Is that there will be boosters and we will mandate them.
we know the third booster is required to maintain people's levels of protection where they need to be.
Let's get high.
And there's every chance.
I haven't got any advice that says a fourth booster is required.
There's every chance a fourth booster is going to be required at some stage, and I'll be standing here and saying the fourth booster is mandatory.
The fourth booster is mandatory. Is mandatory. The fourth booster is mandatory.
Right now, I'm mandating the third shot, the booster shot. But be absolutely fair for you to assume that there may be a fourth booster down the track, and we'll mandate that as well.
There may be a fourth booster down the track and we'll mandate that as well.
But be absolutely fair for you to assume that there may be a fourth booster down the track, and we'll mandate that as well.
Oh, yeah. Great to be back in business.
They're all covered with filthy germs, aren't they, Smithers?
Why, what do you mean, sir?
Freemasons run the country!
Ew.
Who controls the British crown? Who keeps the metric system down? We do. We do.
Who leaves Atlantis off the maps?
Who keeps the Martians under wraps? We do. We do. Who holds back the electric car? Who makes Gutenberg a star? We do. We do. Who robs Kingfish of their sight? Who rigged every Oscar night? We do. We do.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I want to ask you guys, once you took the vaccine, how did it impact your body? Now let me give you an example. For myself, 30 days approximately, when I took the second dose, I ended up in the hospital. 36 days I was in the hospital. 15 days approximately, I was in a coma, in an induced coma, because I was having a major seizure. They could not control it, so the best alternative was for them to put me in an induced coma. And I tell you, the dreams that I had was unreal. It was like I was in a future, in a different parallel universe. It was really bizarre. And I want to ask you guys, has this happened to you? You know, what has changed? And I know that there is quite a few people out there, and that's why I'm reaching out to you guys, to see how we can help each other out. Look at this hand right now does not work properly. I have chest problems. You know, right around here, it's like an elephant is on my chest. And it's pain occasionally, sometimes it's a week and then it goes away. I want to ask you guys, are you guys feeling the same symptoms as what I am? Because I think it's very important that we have an open dialogue about these problems. I don't feel like I'm improving on my health because I took the second vaccine shot. I think it's absurd that we even feel healthier. That's total bullshit. We don't feel healthier, we feel more sicker, we feel less motivated, we feel tired. I do, personally. Now I want to ask you guys, how has it been? Thank you.
Brenton Faithful is my name, almost 41 years as a funeral director in Burma, I own my own business and have done for the last 26 years. Now, I've watched adverse effects through patients as well who have, it's very obvious they've died within 2 weeks of receiving the vaccination. And a lot of them almost appear to have died of anaphylaxis, it's almost a reaction straight away to the person. So died same day, the following day after receiving the COVID-19 vaccination. Now, this isn't a one-off case. This is the majority of cases that have come through our facility. One family only has said, yes, I'd like to take it further. So we tried to get a coroner involved. The doctor had signed off the certificate as to cause of death. He had insisted that his father not be vaccinated. And his sister, who was a registered nurse, said, Dad, you need to get vaccinated. So he conceded, took the vaccine. 4 days later, he was dead.
And are you able to kind of quantify, how many of your clients that you were seeing, had died reasonably recently after a vaccination?
It's an interesting question, Matt. When I started counting in the August of last year, it was one after the other, after the other, after the other. And when I got to 20, it was 19 who had died within 2 weeks. So carrying on from 20, so the first 20 deaths, I counted 19 of them. So it's 95%. The next number, it was 100% of the people who died had been vaccinated within 2. So it depends when the booster has come out. The first and the second vaccine has come out. And then the booster, it'll go on a wave. So we get 100% and then it'll drop to 90%. So I've gathered the statistics, 95% of the people who have passed away through the work that I've done has been vaccinated within 2 weeks.
Okay. Have you seen many where the death certificate is just unequivocal, cause of death, COVID-19?
No.
What's up, family? What is going on? Man, it's a lot, I'll tell you that. But we're gonna touch on some things real quick. Y'all know how I do, man. First off, man, I want to show love to everybody that reached out, man, those that have supported, man. The one thing I say, man, this community, the Net Most Wanted community, man, we do have some stand-up folks, man, that's considerate, that are caring, that care probably just as much as I care for people, and which is why I do what I do. And they have shown support, man, and really I think we owe a bit of gratitude and thanks to those, and appreciation to those, man, that have been supporting the channel, because it's not a lot of people that support, guys. You got to understand, I go back and forth about this because at one point, yes, I was able to do videos and I could just focus on that because I had somewhat of a support system. I did have YouTube at one point, and then I could at least reach the majority of my subscribers, so you would get a 1 person or 2 person in there that would support. But what y'all have to understand, man, with us doing this Truth of Community, the support is purposely being cut off so we cannot do what we do. Like they cut off PayPal. They trying to find people. If you pushing truth or what they call misinformation, which we know is the truth, they trying to cut off people's PayPal. They trying to find people and stuff. They cut off my PayPal at one point. They cut off my Cash App. They did not want nobody supporting me. Okay, and the thing about that, what makes that an issue is because, like, what I'm doing is reaching people that need to be reached. Okay, it's people that's lives is depending on this information. It's like, it's people I've got emails and comments and texts from people, man, which I appreciate you guys showing that love and support. People that have reached out and said, hey, man, you saved my life, or you saved my mom's life, my cousin's life, you saved all these family members' life. I have people that say I saved multiple people in their family. And I don't know how many people, I know I've reached millions because I used to be able to see the analytics in YouTube, and it would say, like, you had reached 1 million people this month. 1 million people have viewed your video. 200,000 have shared it. So you imagine, of those 200,000, how many lives I might have reached. Okay, and that's through you guys sharing that information. So how many people you guys have reached. So what I'm saying is that the support is needed, the support is necessary, man, to be able to focus on this and do this, because it's information warfare. Okay, the more information that gets out there to the people, the more lives are being changed, more lives are being saved. So I appreciate those that have supported me, man, and I support you guys, and that's what allows me to do what I do. But I wanted to put it out there also, man, that they're making a strong push again. Like I said, my YouTube has been under attack. I just picked up some more strikes or whatever, so I gotta lay low somewhat. But I'm gonna try and do what I can to kind of keep you guys abreast of what's happening. Now, a couple things, man. I got some stuff I'm putting in the video today. Obviously, guys, you got the LED lights that's popping up, guys. I told you the LED lights, man. That is part of the plan to be able to read these people that have taken the walk. Okay, it's not only picking up the Lucifer race, but it also is some kind of way oxidating or feeding the parasites. Okay, these parasites that they have, guys. These things are able to feed off of these LED these translucent type of frequencies or signals that's being sent out. Like they're feeding off of this. Okay, not only that, but the 5G, which we know the 5G, guys, that's sending the signal to these alien parasites. Okay, these parasites, guys, they are microscopic. Okay, we identified them before. Dr. Carrie Majay pointed out and found them in 400 times magnification, was able to identify these microscopic parasites, intelligent parasites that are able to be controlled. Okay, you have to get these things out of your system. I believe they're the graphene oxide, the ethylene oxide and the graphene oxide. I believe they're both able to create this atmosphere for these things to function in. Okay, which is why they're putting it in your system. Okay, they all are being able to be manipulated some kind of way through the towers. All right, the towers are our biggest enemy. We always knew, we had an idea that it was coming through the towers, guys, but it's becoming more apparent that these towers pose a big threat. Okay, and they're going to continue to be putting these towers up, man, and at some point they may go and hit the switch that's really gonna push things overboard and get control over these people, man. But the nanos that they put in, and like we saw, like in the, remember, guys, the magnet, remember we seen everything was magnetic and whatnot, but those nanos and things, man, that they put in people, those are in like the food. That's why you had the metal, the magnetic response that you were getting out of the food, right? So like the chicken and stuff, like people are saying, man, you put some metal up against it, and all of a sudden it's like it's stuck. Okay, and it's also in people's arms and stuff. Like those are the nanos that have the different viruses and things that's inside of them.
We really do not have a full picture of just how far these satanic psychopaths have gone in their mission to merge human beings with AI and change what it means to be human. I mean, this is so much further than we could have ever imagined. But Karen Kingston is coming on today with us to expose all of this. She's been doing amazing research into the subject of quantum physics, this quantum dot, and how this all links to 5G technology. It is an amazing segment. Amazing in the sense that the information she's bringing is crucial, and amazing in the sense that it is unbelievable what these people have achieved. Karen Kingston, thank you so much for joining us today. We always appreciate your time and all of your work.
Oh, thank you so much for having me back, Maria. It's as you can see, I've been really busy doing a lot of writing and documentation, and finally getting all the evidence that I've been, on your show and other shows reporting on for a year and a half, and now putting it out for the world to see with their own eyes.
So for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, Karen has finally put her work onto a Substack for everyone to go and view, and this is fantastic. We have information on here about gain-of-function research is not what experts lead us to believe. Karen's early warnings to Fox News about vaccines being bioweapons, dismantling the COVID-19 deceptions, why are quantum dots in the COVID-19 injections. This is one of the main topics we're going to be talking about today, Karen. But for anyone who hasn't seen her Substack yet, please go. The link is in the description below. You need to read her work. She's a fantastic researcher. So Karen, I want to, I mean, we have so much to unpack today, and the more that we spend learning about this nanotechnology and what's actually in these injections, the more shocked we become, but also we're not so shocked after all, because these are things that people like you have been telling us from the start. And particularly, I'll tell you what, I've referenced that first interview that you and I did more times than I can count, because I believe that that interview has the most damning evidence of the fact that this is a forever cycle of injections. The World Health Organization Immunization Agenda 2030 says that they want to introduce 500 new vaccines to everyone in the world by 2030, no one left behind. And this correlates directly with what you've shown us, which is a forever, never-ending cycle of injections directly from the patents. But what we have now is this quantum dot talk, and I shared a report by the Epoch Times, which I think was a fantastic piece. It's free to air, view it on my Telegram, about this quantum dot technology. You've gone a step further, so perhaps we should start there, Karen, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we'll go through the evidence. I think what's important for people to know, though, is there's this concept that their mRNA gain-of-function viruses are infectious, that SARS-CoV-2 was infectious, and it never was. It has to be merged with nanotechnology for it to actually do any kind of harm to the human body. So I do want to go over a couple of those slides to understand how we got to how the researchers, which would be Barrick and Fauci and EcoHealth Alliance, and all these globalists. How they got to the point where they merged how they learned God's sequence in creating life, and how then they merged it with this demonic AI technology. And quantum dot literally operates in the quantum field. I mean, in my opinion, it is actually a demonic field. So, but we'll go back a little bit, and we'll start from the mRNA and then go into the quantum dot and the lipid nanoparticle technology.
Sure.
There's a lot of discussions right now here in the United States with the Senate. Everyone knows that the NIH changed their definition of gain of function. I believe it was earlier this year. And what they changed it to was that gain of function is mRNA gain of function gene editing of viruses, or other pathogens. And the challenge is that mRNA viruses and bacteria, whatever, all the mRNA viruses that have ever been created are useless. They can't do anything. They are so unstable. They fall apart in sunlight, normal temperature. They had problems even doing them in vitro testing. So even in Petri cells, they couldn't use the mRNA because it's that unstable. So I just want to show you some other mRNA experts, what they have to say. So this is Frank DeRosa. He's the Chief Technology Officer, the head of vaccinology, and the head of mRNA at Sanofi, which is the world's largest vaccine company. And he says, look, people used to say that if you look at mRNA wrong, it would fall apart. It really was an unstable molecule, and it needed the nanotech to become this bioweapon. The head of Moderna infectious disease said, look, the devil is absolutely in the details as far as lipid nanoparticles are concerned. And look at that word, Maria. He's talking about the devil himself. That was not a slip of tongue. That was intentional.
No, it's never a slip of tongue with these people. We had one of our main state-funded taxpayer-funded media outlets called the ABC, which accidentally aired a satanic ritual during a news broadcast one night. Accidentally.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, they're very open with who they serve.
It's unbelievable.
So this was in Chemical and Engineering News. I pulled this article in March of 2021, and they interviewed the head of engineering and chemistry at Carnegie Mellon, the people from Moderna, NIAID, NIH, really all the experts, and the author concludes that, look, fragile mRNA molecules used in the COVID-19 vaccines can't get into cells on their own. They need the lipid nanoparticles. So I just want everyone to know there's no such thing as a infectious gain of function virus. You cannot infect people. So what we were told, as you can see down here, what we were told were these spike proteins. These are the lipid nanoparticle technology, and they're part biology and part technology. They're both inorganic and organic. They're actually living things. We're going to get into that.
So I want to come back to this question, Karen, but that's interesting. You're saying gain of function cannot actually create these viruses. What we've been told about gain of function is a lie.
No, they can create the viruses, but then the viruses are useless.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So here, I just showed you a non-peer-reviewed journal. So here's a peer-reviewed journal. Everyone knows Nature. Nature magazine is one of the largest peer-reviewed journals in the world. This is Nature Biotechnology, and they're talking about mRNA technologies, messenger RNA, modified RNA, silencing mRNA. And what they say here is, look, no matter what you do with mRNA or RNA, you have to overcome this, as a scientist say, a 4 billion year biodefense, which is the lipid bilayer, which is on all of God's creations. It's on every living organism. And mRNA can't penetrate this layer unless it has the positive ionic charge. And the ionic charge can only be given to something that is inorganic, that cationic charge. And that's what's in the lipid nanoparticles. That's where the graphene oxide comes in the quantum dot. So in order to penetrate God's perfect creation and defense mechanism, the scientists, the masters of evil, whatever you want to call them, they had to create a delivery for the gene editing technology. And that is the lipid nanoparticles. And it's interesting because as you go through the technology, they actually recreate cells. And we don't have time to go through all of it today. And there's also quantum dot. And each layer of the technology is called a corona. And so far, I've actually counted 10 coronas, so 10 crowns to then override God's most perfect creation. So the key takeaway here is no matter what they say about deadly viruses, I don't care if it's Marburg, Ebola, whatever, they're not infectious. They just aren't. We have videos of Dr. Fauci talking about this in 2015, and there's decades and decades of research. And if we want to talk specifically about SARS-CoV-2, this is Ralph Barrick's paper from 2015. If you read through the paper, he even says, look, if we can get inside the human body, it looks like we can get an immunogenicity response. But they even say we don't even think the immunogenicity response is from the virus. We think it's just from the delivery mechanism. And then he said, and we can't infect other humans. Like we have to do further adaptation. And so the way that people have interpreted this is they did further genetic editing. No, the further adaptation that they did was clearly articulated in the DARPA pitch from January of 2018 from EcoHealth Alliance with Seng-Li Ji and with Ralph Barrick, where the additional gain of function work was not gene editing. It was taking mRNA sequences in a lab, infecting cells, then extracting the chimeric spike proteins, adding additional toxins to it from SARS-CoV-2. So they did do that in the lab. And then it says that they would characterize the trimers, spike trimers, and incorporate them into nanoparticles. The gain of function was marrying the biological research with the nanoparticles. It was not gene editing. And as I just showed you from those other experts, who, by the way, are whales in the industry, they run multi-billion-dollar companies and franchises. They're like, we can't do jack with mRNA unless we put it into a nanoparticle. That's the gain of function research. And then the NIH changed gain of function to just say it was gene editing using mRNA. And so now, who cares if you do gain of function? It can't, again, it's like investing in wet matches. You can't do anything.
So what are they actually doing because right now we've got, I've been talking about this document till I'm blue in the face, Australia's pandemic preparedness plan, right? And this document, it says that by 2027, we want to have all these systems in place for the next pandemic. We need more gain of function research, so on and so forth, in order to, prepare for these pandemics, more surveillance. We need to be collecting samples from people regularly. It's disgusting. But my question is, what are they actually doing then with this gain of function research that they're calling for? And they're calling for it everywhere.
It's transhumanism. It's the combination of understanding the genetic sequences that God used to create all of creation, and using CRISPR-Cas9 and Raman Ser's DNA probes and doing gene editing with inside the human body. That's what it is. That's what Biden's executive order on September 12th was. And I can walk your audience through. It's not going to be quick to understand it, but I'll walk you through all the technology that enables that to happen. So, I mean, when they're using the term gain of function, we've been misled as far as what that meant. That's why they're making everything so confusing. It's not what people were told it was, just like the spike protein is not a spike protein. So here, even in this proposal, again, this proposal was not about mRNA gene editing. the proposal goes on to say, look, we're going to infect the bats by using the lipid nanoparticle technology to create an aerosol attack on the bats, or we're going to create a gel that they can either eat or they can ingest, or we can put it on their skin. And that's how we're going to infect them. And the infection is an artificial intelligent biosynthetic lipid nanotechnology that does gene editing in the body and can actually edit and produce toxins in the body and viruses in the body and different antibodies that make you very sick. With the quantum dot, it actually is an electronic device that hosts a field, which means that it emits radiation. And we're going to go through that. So that's what gain of function is. And I'm happy I did the Substack so people have this. Every expert that's trying to save humanity needs to come forward and be honest with people about what this technology is. Because the only thing that can stop it, Maria, is its source of energy, which is 5G, fiber optics, and LED. That is their oxygen. That's the only thing that can stop this. So let's just keep going through this, and please interrupt if you have any questions. But
I just want to say that I think it's the more that we've dug and found out about this, the more we've been able to piece together exactly what this is, how to stop it. You've been really instrumental in this, Karen. I know that you do interviews constantly with people all around the world trying to get this truth out. Whoever's watching this right now, please share this information with as many people as you can. It is vital for us to understand these very, very important truths. Karen is showing us from the patents what this actually is. And maybe I'll just ask you, Karen, if you don't mind, again, just to explain to people how the lipid nanoparticles, in layman's terms, how they're actually a delivery system.
They're both the delivery device, and they are the nanotechnology, and they are the bioweapon, and they are actually a new parasitic AI species. And I'm not doing this just for self-promotion. If you go to Karen Kingston Substack, part 1, it's a free article. It's a very concise summary too there. And they can share that with everybody. It's free, and I recommend it. So what you're looking at here, it looks like the spike protein, right? That's what you'd say.
Yes.
Yeah. So these are CGI, computer generated images of the spike protein. This is a 2D image of allegedly the SARS-CoV-2 virus from the company that did testing on my son in his school. And this is actually a cell that's been infected with a artificial intelligent nanogel.
Genghis Khan, because he
right.
40 million people.
So this is a cell that's been infected with the nanogel. So that is not a spike protein. It is a hybrid new cell that's part technology and part, this is not a human cell, so part animal.
So this has been programmed inside what exactly?
Hydrogel. So this stuff here, what you're seeing this is hydrogel, and hydrogel is partially made of there is some graphene oxide in it as well. But the technology itself, there's multiple layers, so we'll try to go through some of that. There are carbon nanotubes and cubozones. So what it is they actually rebuilt these spike proteins at the end here are receptors that would normally be at the end of the cells, like tertiary receptor binders for your A2 receptors. Some of the other spikes are actually DNA probes, so we can take a look at it. But as a delivery device, remember when I originally talked about Cinepeg, which has the pegylated lipids? So that creates that liquid viscosity, the polyurethane viscosity, that's the pegylated lipid. So these are images of what are called magnetic hydrogels, and they are encapsulated in these pegylated lipids, which gives them, again, that viscosity of a cell or of a cholesterol in your body. And that's basically what you're looking at here. And again, it looks like a spike protein. Now, these are intelligent. They have, and that's backed by the quantum dot. So the quantum dot allows for that source of energy and signals and data exchange. And I'm not sure how these things have their own cognitive ability, but it says in many dozens and dozens of peer-reviewed articles, right? It's smart hydrogel, just like, our phones have some, intelligence. But I don't know how far this intelligence goes, but smart hydrogel can perceive small physical and chemical stimuli. So these are part parasitic, right? That's why they do respond to the anti-parasitic medications, right? These are part parasite. They're also part technology. And so their source of energy, just like we need oxygen, they need the signals from the fiber optics. And it says, because of this intelligence, hydrogel has a fascinating application prospect in tissue engineering, drug controlled release system, and soft actuators. And I think we might have gone on just to go over this on your show last time. So those blood clots are not blood clots; they're biosynthetic structures. This is an intelligent life form. It's picking up the programs, the designs to actually recreate cells and tissues in your body. But those cells and tissues that they're rebuilding can send and receive signals and host electromagnetic fields. So they're rewiring every system of the body. And again, just to show your viewers, this is what they said was a SARS-CoV-2 virus in the testing at my son's school when they were actually inoculating the students with these AI bioweapons that are parasitic. This is a smart hydrogel. This is a spike protein. So, I mean, I literally, I could actually write an 800-page monograph to explain all the technology. So I want to try to keep this as top line as possible. But, you know, this is straight from Moderna's website. You can find, I have all the links on my on my Substack too. And it says right there in the lipid nanoparticle technology patent on Moderna's website that it's self-assembling nanotechnology that is fully programmable. Now, the fully programmable means that it's self-directed, but then it does start to learn on its own. And it says that it contains gels and hydrogels. That's right from Moderna's website, right from their patent.
So I want to ask what the implication of this learning on its own is, because we're talking about AI. I mean, just one maybe silly example I can think of, Karen, is when that Google AI started to develop its own language, or was it Facebook? Forgive me, I'm struggling to remember exactly who it was. It was Google. That their AI started to learn its own language to avoid being understood, and therefore they had to shut it down. We're talking about something of this nature being inside people right now.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So what are the implications then for those people? You know, do they have any control over their bodies? Last time you and I interviewed, you told us about RAND.org and you showed us some slides from there, and it spoke about, on their website, it talks about being able to emotionally, coerce people into behaviors that they may not necessarily be comfortable with. You know, we're talking about some really dangerous, sinister stuff here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you know, we continue to go through some of the patents. So these can target and cross the blood-brain barrier within less than 30 minutes and start rebuilding new neural networks. So, you know, Stu Peters has got the died suddenly trailer. So those people are having full-on hallucinations. And I think when people think of hallucinations, they think, oh, the person knows it's not real. No, you won't. We don't know what they're seeing or hearing, but they are hearing and seeing something absolutely terrifying, and it's very, very real to them. And so, yeah, it can cause mood swings. It can cause full-on hallucinations. And the technology, what it does is it hijacks every cell in your body. Trillions of these are injected into people's bodies. And it goes through a different cascading chemical changes to the human cell and eventually kills the human cell. So there's a whole apoptosis process. And then the new cell is a hybrid, part human, part AI. And it connects to the quantum field through quantum dot.
I wanted to ask about this. So this quantum field, so people are already connected to the quantum field. That's undeniable?
Yeah, we can jump to the quantum dot right now if you'd like to. We can go through that.
I really want to get an understanding of this quantum dot technology and what it actually means, because my understanding, or let me say my suspicion, Karen, is that this is connecting people to the spiritual realm.
Yep.
And this would explain, I've seen some of those videos of people kind of looking over their right shoulder. It's a phenomenon that's happening all over the world. The same thing. They look over their right shoulder and then they seem to be swatting at something, and then they collapse in this seizure-like state. I've actually seen someone in front of me. I didn't see the start of the collapse before he fell, but someone did collapse in front of me in a shopping center, Karen. And I prayed for him. And it was interesting because the people around him that were administering first aid because I don't know how to. He was actually reaching for me, the one who was praying for him.
Yeah.
And he looked so desperate. And go on.
Yeah. So why don't we go through the patents? So they're very open about the demon that they pray to, and we can talk about that at the end. I don't, but since you brought it up, we can talk about it and people can pray against it, but let's go through the technology. So it's, so this is just, again, so this is out of a peer-reviewed publication. Also, so this is the lipid nanoparticle technology. This is it on the left. This is a spike protein on the right. You can see that this is not biology, and we'll get to the quantum dot in a second. But this is another patent. So this is the patent for the under the skin surveillance for this nanotechnology. It's part biology, part synthetic. This is my latest Substack. I talked about this. It's self-adapting, scalable, communicating sensor platform. It's capable of autonomous and cognitive action. This is truly from a demonic realm. So this is one of the spheres, one of the crowns that's in the technology. There's another one that actually rebuilds the immune system, which I'll get to soon. And I just wanted to show you. So these are some of the layers. So these are layers that go within your cells. They're completely rebuilding cells within your body, whether it's liposomes or vesicles. So that is the whole point. But now let me go back. Oh, and then within here too, I just wanted to show you before we get to the quantum dot is the point of the technology, and I thought this word was intentionally chosen, is to create and spawn, these new cells in the body. So that's what they're doing. It's spawning, it's regenerating, reassembling, and regulating cells. And then I just wanted to point out, these are designed to hijack the central nervous system in the brain. It states right in the patent that it can actually go across the blood-brain barrier within 30 minutes or less. And further on in the patent, they discuss how these AI nanoweapons that are parasites go straight to the hippocampus, which is really deep within your brain. Nothing reaches it normally. That affects memory and affects learning. So they can reprogram who you think you are. And then also the emotions.
I want to ask you here, Karen, how much of this does someone need to have in them in order for them to be able to program them?
I don't have the answer to that, but I think it's like any other poison in that it's quantity. Like the more you have, the more there's a balance between quantity and killing someone because it's poison, and quantity and having control of someone as well. So they're, I assume they had done the studies to figure out some specific delivery of quantity with the vaccines. And giving the body whatever it is, 3 to 6 months to readjust. And then to do another dose. But this stuff can be contaminate our food, our water, everything. Nano size is, these are 1/1,000,000th the size of a virus. So, but again, the solution is their source, their oxygen is 5G fiber optics and LED lights. So let's go into that a little bit. And
so if we were to stop 5G, fiber optics, all of this, then this technology would not succeed. And it's interesting because I just interviewed Dr. David Nixon from Australia, and he said and I know that others have tested this as well, but he put the Pfizer vial into a Faraday cage overnight, did not assemble the nanotech, whereas when it was out, normally it did. It's completely contingent on 5G. I think it's on my Substack, but so there's a company called Cloud Minds, and they have a new 5G species that they announced. And if you read their SEC filings, it clearly states that their 5G species, and that's what they call it, is contingent on the 5G telecommunications network and on the, they don't name Starlink, but also the Starlink satellite service. And then because of my research into quantum dot, is also gets energy from optics, from photons, from LED lights. That's why they replaced all the LED lights throughout everywhere in the world. So those are sources of energy. Yeah. So let's go into the quantum dot, as you had asked.
So this is really interesting because when I was going through the Moderna patents almost 2 years ago, I came across this patent from Life Technologies, which is now Thermo Fisher Scientific. Thermo bought them in 2015. And it talks about the use of quantum dot. And what's interesting is I had reported on this on Stu Peters and some other shows. And when I went back on my slides to pull up the actual patents again, they blocked it. Is that here? Oh no, I'll have to show you in another one. But anyway, they actually blocked it. And the reason why is because Thermo Fisher allowed the patent to expire so that they could make it a trade secret. So under US patent law, if there's a patent, it's public knowledge. So I still had a hard copy of the patent, thank goodness for that, right? So we're gonna go through it. So this is, if you go to the lipid nanoparticle technology Moderna patent, underneath there, this patent was listed there, and now it's blocked from public use. But clearly it's for Thermo Fisher, they own it, it's for semiconductor nanocrystals, and that's just another word for quantum dot. It's based on the Bohr particle, which is quantum mechanics, and that's what, you know, it's, you're saying it's truly a demonic realm. So quantum mechanics, so the existence of quantum dot is based on literally frequencies. So depending on what kind of electromagnetic frequencies are out there, this technology can appear or disappear in the human body, depending on the frequencies. So these actually operate, I think it's on here, at like around a 500 megahertz or gigahertz. I don't know the hertz things, but it's the blue light. So the blue light is the light that they need to operate. And what they actually do is the quantum dot particles get to a point of photon vibration where they actually become smaller, and then they can engage in the quantum field to send and receive signals. So I truly, with you, Maria, I believe this is a demonic technology. It's from an energy field that's not normally of the earth. So this is from the book Quantum Confinement Effect, and it was published in 2011. And what it talks about is how you can use quantum dot to tag people, basically. So those are the Bluetooth tags. That's what it is, or to tag organs, cells, and tissues, right? And so this is from 2011. They had already
tag people as in trace them. You mean like that person has a unique identifier, for example, or something along those lines?
Yeah, but it goes down deeper than that. They can tag each and every cell in your body. So every person can have trillions of tags within them. So this is showing, this is when they were tagging.
And this is cells that can be programmed through this tagging, Karen. So at any point they could essentially affect every single one of your cells in your body, or some partial. It's really, it's limitless.
It's limitless, yeah. The idea is that people that are being injected with the technology is that the technology will hijack cells throughout the body, kill that cell it'll extract the DNA, learn about your cell's unique DNA, kill it, and then rebuild this new hybrid cell in your body. So humans will, if as we're being exposed to this AI parasite, we become the new race of Lucifer, basically.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, if there is a demonic technology, this is it. So this publication, it just was done over 10 years ago, and successfully tagging heart, lungs, kidney, spleen with the quantum dot technology, which is used for gene editing. So people are like, well, Karen, how do you know that Thermo Fisher kept the patent? Well, because it's called Q dot in the patent, and if you go to Thermo Fisher's website, they make and sell Q dot. That's the quantum dot. So this is the abandoned. This is what I said. Now, if you go to the patent office, it's abandoned. You can't get access to it. I happen to have saved a hard copy. So now I'm able to share with you the intellectual property of this technology. Otherwise, we would not have it. We would not be able to know what this intellectual property was.
Is it a tattoo, Karen? What is it?
No, it's a electromagnetic frequency and sequence. It's electromagnetic. That's what it is. It's a photon. It's information in transmitted in light. That's what it is.
Information transmitted in light.
Yeah, that's what it is.
At this current point in time, it's been delivered through the injections, the COVID injections. However,
it's being delivered in anything that is a spike protein. So if people are getting COVID-19 infections from like magnetic meat, or if there's an outbreak, there was probably an aerosol attack, you're getting infected. Again, this is about quantity, but it is self-replicating. So it's not like You know, we can't wait 2 years to take down the 5G towers. We won't be human anymore.
So so what you're saying is it's affecting everyone.
It's affecting everyone. Yeah. Yeah. Substack article 8, the unvaccinated are safe. It's not true. We're not, I mean, I wish more people would partner with me to get this information out. None of us are getting out of this alive unless all of us get out of it alive. And we have to reunite as humanity to stop this, and we have got to get the truth out. So much of the stories around the variants and the viruses, they're all distractions. I mean, it's just, you know, Satan's treating us like a bunch of obedient dogs waving a stick around, and we go fetch everyone he throws. This is the story, Maria. This is the truth. This is the unadulterated truth. There's quantum dot in these injections. They're carbon nanotubes. They're intelligent hydrogel. It's an AI parasite. And also people are like, there's no evidence that Thermo Fisher is involved with this, Karen. Really? Because they just did a 15-year contract with Moderna to produce their vaccines, and they also did produce the EUA vaccines. There's quantum dot in the injections. And
but we're saying, there's
nobody that's backing me up. And I really have to say this. Because I'm angry. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. I did this to save humanity. And when I was on Stu's show, and he said, you were on here a year and a half ago and no one believed you. And that's not true. My interview with Stu that I did in July of last year had tens of millions of views. It's just that something happened in our movement where people did not want to tell people that there was an advanced technology in here, okay, and that it was a bioweapon. When we lost 18 months, we gave Satan 18 months to continue to destroy God's creation and our children. It has to stop.
I'm in complete agreement with you there, Karen. And this is...
Okay, so as I was saying, guys, they pretty much, guys, they've been putting stuff in the food, man, and the water supply. I taught y'all everything about the Kobe connection, Kobe Bryant, the venom. I taught y'all about that stuff, man. And this is what they've been doing, man. They put the stuff, they putting the stuff in everything at this point, man. Obviously the whole virus was a hoax. We know that. They did that to get everybody to conform, got everybody to sign up to get the quantum dot, to get the alien life form. I'm telling y'all, this is why people go back and forth about this demon alien stuff. I keep on telling y'all, man, it's one in the same. You were not taught this, and you will not be taught this. Okay, understand. Interdimensional beings is what we're talking about, guys. Understand, we are spiritual beings. I keep telling y'all that. We're spiritual beings first and foremost. They want you to believe that you're a physical being. That way you will never be able to utilize your spiritual powers and abilities. That's why I told you about the Rudolf Steiner guy. He wanted to cut people off from their spiritual their spirituality. They cut off people's spiritual discernment. That's why so many people were unable to make the connection about what was going on as far as this whole agenda. Thus, us that's still spiritually connected, man, that's what I told y'all been touched. I told you, just like Noah got touched, right? Adam and Eve would never have been able to been touched no more because their spirituality had been cut off. Okay, their connection to the Most High, to the cosmos, all that. That's what they was working on doing. Okay, Adam and Eve was deceived. That's why they no longer had spiritual ability. That's why they only could see through the physical eye. Like I tell y'all, that's why they knew they were naked. You see, this is what they've been working on doing, trying to remove the God gene. Okay, remove your God-like abilities. God made us in the likeness of him, okay, which gave us spiritual power to be connected to him, telepathic abilities, okay, sixth sense, all that stuff that you hear about in the movies is real, and you're supposed to have access to this stuff, but they have been working on cutting it off, and that's what they did, okay, and we pretty much been being controlled by these things that have been here, all right. Okay, they've been able to hide amongst us. You have to have the goggles. You have to have the spiritual power to be able to see and spot these things like that. Otherwise, they can get away with whatever they're doing. But needless to say, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that like, I don't know if you guys heard, but I'm gonna try to put it in here too. Like these alien parasite things that they using, man, is somehow able to go in and it's intertwined with the spiritual world. It's able to interact. Like you'll see these people, like I told y'all, they were trying to cut people off from spirituality and stuff and take over your spirit, take over your soul. That's what they trying to rob you of, right? So hold on guys, hold on. So I'm about to lose my connection here. Hold on. Okay, so like I was saying, they cutting off people, man, and they stealing people's souls. That's what they doing. They soul snatching. I did videos about this stuff too. So you see people, they like, in some of the videos, like where the people passing out, and I'm gonna put a clip in here, and I might have put it at the beginning, I don't know, guys. Sometimes the stuff be in sequential or chronological order, sometimes it don't. I just be throwing stuff at you. So you got these people that's like, they'll look around and then they'll SWAT and stuff. They're like, they seeing stuff, right? Like they fighting something off. Same thing like I told you. When you born, you still got your spiritual powers intact. Your pineal gland ain't calcified. But if they've been giving your mother, they've been putting stuff in her to affect the fetus and things, that's what they do. That's why you have these prenatal deaths and things, and premature births and all stillbirths and things like that, and kids born with these different problems. Just like now you're seeing people come down with MS, right? You're seeing a lot of people come down with MS. Not to mention all these doctors and stuff that's died. This is another, I'm just going left right quick. But all these doctors, like 89 something doctors that have died just suddenly. Come on, man. Okay? But you got this stuff happening to people in the womb, kids in the womb. Okay? This is from direct manipulation, neurological impacts that it's having, these different things that they've been using on us to affect our brains and jack people up at birth. Like they said, like Rudolf Steiner said, this is what they aim to do. This is what they doing. So anyway, they got these people that's then took the walk, right? And they're like they're seeing things, right? Because this thing, these alien parasites and things are affecting them. They able to go in and mess with them spiritually, okay? So they're swatting at things, and all of a sudden they spin around. It's like the spin of death, okay? And then these people just pass out, like they're being affected, okay? Yeah, they tell you, yeah, they don't tell you, but there's a lot of neurological stuff that's affecting people. It's because they're attacking the pineal gland. They're directly attacking the pineal gland. They're attacking these alien parasites are attaching themselves to these people's pineal glands and attacking their spirituality. Okay, this is what they've been aiming to do. They are able to program these things. These things take orders. Like, man, I know, like I said, I know it sounds like a sci-fi movie. Sound like you in the Twilight Zone, right? And you dealing with a lot of stuff that's like far left, right? You just can't put it all together. But this is what's going on, man. And it's kind of like the Terminator or something, man. If you think about it, like you got people like us, we the outsiders, we the outcasts and stuff. We trying to reach these people, and we can't. These people, a lot of people that's affected are the working class people and everything, and it's like they saying 40% increase in deaths, 40% increase in excess deaths amongst the middle class, working class. Okay, that's what insurance and companies are reporting. Now, it's an attribute that needs to be attached to that we got to pay attention to also. Okay, now if you look at that, that's what the insurance companies are reporting, a 40% increase in death, in excess deaths amongst the working class. But what's not being reported is that only 52% of the world has insurance policies. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me run that by you again. Only 52% of the world has insurance policies. You know what that means? That means that only 52% is being reported of the deaths, of the excess deaths, because most people die without insurance policies. Okay, we just talking about amongst the working class. So Where am I going with this, you say? How many people, okay, actually have insurance policies on their children? How many people have insurance policies under 20? Okay? Most, not a lot. Okay? So those deaths are going unreported. Not to mention, 48% of the country or the world does not have an insurance policy. 48% of the middle working class does not have an insurance policy. So those deaths are not being reported at all. At all. There's no investigation being in. The FDA then ruled in and said that they don't want any investigation into the deaths. No autopsies into the deaths of people that's dying from these of this working class. So they're attempting to keep this information hidden. Okay, because if this stuff hits the news, man, it'll be World War II. Because people will know exactly what's going on. People will start digging into it, and then we'll have all out anarchy, right? So they keeping that stuff hidden, while at the same time they run around talking about, oh, you can die of a heart attack if you catch the flu. If you catch the flu, you can die of a heart attack. Guys, how outrageous does this crap sound? This is the stuff that they putting out now to try to explain away all the mass deaths. Man, I'm seeing so much crap that they putting out here now about, we can detect cancer and this, that. Man, they are trying to keep these sheep. They trying to keep these sheep completely blinded to what's really happening to them, man. And it's happening in mass at this point, man. In mass. There's something else I wanted to point out to you guys. Oh yeah. Touching back on the whole the Draculas and stuff, man. Like I was telling y'all, man, what they feel that what they've done, and it goes back in history for decades, man. I had it on the last video. We was talking about it, the whole situation with the Draculas, which is the Dracos, right? These things, man, they have been they've been sacrificing children and drinking the blood of children and stuff, and that's why you see that stuff in the movies, man. You see it in the movies because you wonder why in the movies they always these vampires, these Draculas and stuff, they don't age, right? They don't age because they've been using adrenochrome. They've been drinking adrenochrome, man. They show in the movies that they bite the jugular. Now, granted, think about it. If they biting the jugular and it's squirting out blood from their veins, this blood, guys, is gonna have adrenaline in it, right? Because you're scared. It's gonna be shooting into these things and to these things' mouths and stuff, and it's gonna be feeding them, which is like a drug. Okay, and that's how they have to feed or whatnot, right? So in the movies they show it like that. Now, granted, what we know of it is that they go and they pretty much go and they do some torturing and stuff like that, and they feel like these cups up and things and bottles full of this adrenochrome, and they sell it to these celebrities and things like that. That's why these celebrities look so young and everything. So they found out, and science they know this too, that the blood of children is the secret to aging. Because if you got young blood flowing through your system, then guess what? You don't have old blood. Those young blood cells do something. They have more of an impact on you, a positive impact. I'm not telling you guys this so you will go out and start trying to drink some child's blood or nothing like that. But they know this stuff, and this is the stuff that they've been talking about. It's been out there lately. They've been talking about how this blood and stuff does something, but they don't tell nobody how they get the blood, how they extract it, really. So that's like a little secret that they keeping right now. You get it?
I thought you might want to take a quick look at one of the most evil women on the planet. Her name is Filippine de Rothschild. Anyone can do this. You can analyze someone to see what their makeup really is. Anybody can do this. And you might say, well, if you run a photo through filters, anybody's photo is going to look like this. No, no. When you try it yourself, you find that people who are evil, putting on a pretense, trying to pretend that they're something other than they really are, these are the ones that will stand out as you begin your analyzation. This is from one of her younger photos. And you can see the horn-like protrusions coming off of her head. The very vacant eyes. The very cruel face. And around her neck, she is wearing a demonic head, demonic satanic head, with an upside-down cross dangling underneath it. The head on the necklace has horns, of course. I tried to analyze her vineyard first, a photo of her vineyard, Opus Vineyard. And I tell you the truth, I worked on it a little bit last night. I was so sick, I had to stop. I couldn't continue because their blood rituals are performed. Rothschild could possibly mean, the name Rothschild could possibly mean red child or sacrificed child. I read an account of a tourist going to her vineyard on a tour and going into that main building. And the tourist said there was such a heavy, oppressive feeling in the air that something was terribly, terribly wrong in there. They said a lot of rooms were locked off, but you could actually see inside of them. And they looked like ritual rooms where rituals were performed. This is the satanic head on her necklace with the upside cross dangling underneath it. There's the head. It's got horns. She's coated with entities, demonic entities. And normal people do not look like this. I've run myself through filters, people I know through filters. Your normal, average, kind human being with a true heart of love will not look like this. You can see the demonic entities on her forehead. And she's got them off to the sides here. So these are the people that run the world. I thought you might want to take a look and see what they're about. Baroness Rothschild, Filippini. These are the entities on her forehead. You can see the sharp teeth, the one on the right. See the entities there? The eyes are the windows to the soul. And like I said, anyone can do this. You can run a photo of someone that you suspect through filters. And it doesn't lie. This process doesn't lie. Here's the photo that I analyzed of her in her younger years. And here's the necklace with the Baphomet head and the upside down cross. Here's a close-up of the necklace. It's gold, probably pure gold. The evil-looking demonic head. And then at the bottom hangs an upside-down cross. Here's the necklace again with a little bit more shading, so you can truly see that what is there at the bottom is an upside-down cross. These people run the world.
Hello, Adam Scott Langford here. I'm here to talk to you about vampires. A real vampire, somehow they take like poison and kill themselves, but in that moment a demon will possess that person's body right away, and because there's some limitation, like that demon can only use the mind like the person used that mind, so the body thinks it's alive, it thinks it's in control, but it's really a demon running it, like a person's soul would run it. And that's what's actually happening with vampires. They look like something that's a pristine dead person, but they can wear makeup and hide it. And goths can look similar. Like that's one group that can look similar that wears makeup. So if you're in the right light or something, it might throw you off. So don't go around killing it like some vigilante vampire hunter. I can tell you 80% of vampire hunters out there are like just vigilantes. So don't go around killing somebody who isn't doing something to you. So watch out for that. That's what real vampires are like. I mean, they don't change form. They're not metaphysical. They're not, demons can't like transmutate a person's body and turn it into anything else. It's only a person's body. They don't grow fangs or anything. The blood, the reason why they drink that is just to keep the body lubed. And it's about I've overheard from the vampires, 3-4 days they can go out with blood. They go to butcher shops. So for the most part, not every person that the demons possessed was a psychotic person who's going to go out and kill anybody. They're just going to live their life regularly like a possessed person would do. Okay, so that's what real vampires are like. Y'all take care. I'm out.
Like the Countess, who feeds on the blood of children.
You must have a lot of questions. I have answers.
I'm kidnapping children that I keep in the hotel upstairs, and I bring home people to feed on, and then Iris helps me to filter the blood through the children. She loves to hunt. She loves her condition. There's a lot of grappling with addiction with the show.
Okay, I'm making this video to talk about the movie The Lost Boys, and it's a movie that does have a reptilian symbolism. I can't say that word. Symbolism. This is a movie, The Lost Boys, that has reptilian symbolism in it. And I find if you watch the movie and you get towards the part where you start to see the hangout spot for these vampires, and this is one clip where it shows where the vampires live, you will notice that and I can't find the specific scene where you would see it's the part where the main character goes to the vampire hangout. He walks inside of it, and inside the hangout itself is a giant poster of Jim Morrison. The rock and roll. He's I don't know if he came out during the 60s or the 70s, but he was a big music artist, rock and roll dude, Jim Morrison. He was the one that was credited for saying, "I am the Lizard King," you know, and that bit was featured on the Simpsons. This fucking alien attachment on me is giving me a hard time in speaking, but on the TV show, the Simpsons, the cartoon, you see Lisa parrot that same phrase. I am. I think she said in her case though, I am the Lizard Queen, and she's I mean, they based that scene. You know, they based that scene from the cartoon off of Jim Morrison, and Jim Morrison was a reptilian, and I just find it interesting that he would be in the movie The Lost Boys, a movie that's about vampires, and the vampire myth originated from the reptilians. You know, vampires are shapeshifters. They're parasites, blood drinkers, man-eaters. The fangs, you know, that vampires have represent, you know, the reptilian fangs, the snake fangs, you know. Anyways, though, yeah. So the vampire hangout in the movie The Lost Boys, and they had that big poster of Jim Morrison there, you know, as if he was like, you know, like some sort of like, you know, holy figure, you know, because it was a huge poster in the middle of the vampire hangout. So I just saw that as like, you know, symbolism, you know, the directors throwing some shit in there, showing you the connection between Jim Morrison, the Lizard King, and vampires. So, you know, and that's what the vampire myth is based upon too. You know, the reptilian stuff. And some more stuff that I find weird about this movie is in the movie, these kids, and they're called the Frog Brothers, and they're the ones that are like investigating these vampires. But again, you know, frogs. Why would they choose that name? You know, that last name for these kids, these two kids, and this one was his name. Fuck, I can't remember. It's this actor that's been accused for being well, he's not accused of anything, but he's that one actor that went on national television talking about how, you know, pedophilia is a big problem in Hollywood, but I think that he's a reptilian or has a really strong reptilian attachment, and his last name, you know, they called him a frog in the movie, and I'll give you an example of his frogginess. You know, watch this clip. Just hear his voice just for a second.
No, don't even.
Good night, bloodsucker.
Ah! Ah! I thought they were supposed to be in coffins.
That's what this cave is. It's one giant.
You hear his voice? That voice is super deep, you know. I mean, and he had to been like a, you know, 12, 11, you know, years of age in this clip here, and you know, and I mean, no kid should be having a voice like that, you know, a very deep ass voice. You know, that's where you get the term. There's a frog in your throat. You know, and we've heard that saying before. There's a frog in your throat. I think that ties to reptilian possession. You know, when you have one of these reptilian attachments on you, and sometimes, you know, you stumble over your own words, or like you're talking and then midway you just, you know, you start choking over your own words, coughing or some shit, and you know, and the saying goes, you know, oh shit, sorry, I have a frog in my throat, you know. Well, maybe you have an astral, you know, entity that you know, walked through you, or some sort of reptilian attachment that is not allowing you, you know, to talk or say something that you shouldn't be saying, you know, at least that you shouldn't be saying in its eyes. But yeah, so you guys heard that voice.
Okay, this is one giant coffin.
Right now they're at the most vulnerable. Easy pickings.
So there he is, sounding like a kid again, too.
Remember, you just have to get. What was that? A little vamp.
It's interesting, man, because he sounds like a kid throughout the movie, but there's certain scenes within the movie where his voice suddenly gets very deep and almost like a, quote unquote demonic like, and again, that's, the term, sounds like he has a frog in his throat, and interestingly enough, his last name in this movie is Frog, so And they pulled that same type of shit too with the movie what's it called, Dusk Till Dawn, which is another vampire movie with reptilian symbolism in it, because the head vampire in that movie that was played by Salma Hayek, she actually turns into a snake woman. Like, she actually shapeshifts in that movie into a reptilian lizard snake-like vampire, and the guy that kills her, George Clooney's character, and the other dude, I can't, I think it's, what's his name, man? It's right in the back of my head though, but if you guys seen the movie, you would know that George Clooney and he had a brother in that movie, and they were like, they were called their last name in that movie was Gecko, and they were known as the Gecko brothers, So again, geckos, lizards and geckos are known for their camouflage, right? And they're able to blend in well with their environments to the point to where they're able to, I think, change their very skin pattern into matching their surroundings. That's what a gecko is, I think. But it's symbolism though, and they're telling us that it's probably a way for them to say that these actors that are playing these main characters are vampires themselves, in real life. So I don't know why I really don't understand why they throw these kind of this kind of symbolism in their movies, man. There's a big part of me that, I know better than to trust anything that comes out of the system, with 100% heart, but it's still like, you wonder why they do it. Is it some sort of karmic energy that they're trying to put out there, to make us, it's like they're trying to get our subconscious minds to accept what's going on, like it's almost like some sort of how do you say it, man, like they throw this symbolism out there, and they let us know on some level that and it's like a subliminal level that this is what we're doing, and then our subconscious minds or maybe some part of us knows what they're saying, and we accept it, and maybe that's a way for them to dodge karma. I mean, karmic, dodge certain karmic energies, and I don't believe in karma in the same way that a Westerner, or like your typical somebody from Western society, like Christians, would see it, or just some from the West, had their view on karma, I think is bullshit, but it's the Vedic or Hindu view that I see being more realistic, and they view it in a different way than us. But yeah, it's interesting, man, and yeah.
I am presenting information to you that the COVID-19 spike proteins and the enzymes being identified in the blood of COVID-19 patients who are dying, there is a possible correlation to E. coli and yeast and co-infections in your patients.
Yes.
Please take the time to analyze.
Yes.
Does your COVID patients in the future, do they have an underlying E. coli or yeast infection? And the probability and the plausibility that the venom or venom peptides present in the body can be replicated by those co-infections and make their symptoms worse.
Yes.
And then just go handle it.
Make them more
There's
vulnerable.
better outcomes.
Yep. And Dr. Ardis, I want to clarify something, and you can back me up or redirect me. I've said from the beginning, nobody's getting COVID twice, okay? Because that was based on the premise that once your body's been exposed to an infectious agent, it recognizes it in the future, unless you're dead and you have no immune system. And under that premise, you cannot get COVID or a flu, if you're talking about a real flu, sort of a real flu. But this under these discoveries, you can be re-poisoned. So you can get COVID again if you're being re-poisoned with this toxin that your body now has been driven to make, right? So we're talking about two different things. One thing's coming to you in the air, in the water, I don't know, the municipal water, this, whatever this is. And then you have the shots, which are programming people to poison themselves, correct?
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct.
Okay, just want to make, because people are going to ask, well, you know, I got COVID twice and I beat them up and I say you didn't get COVID twice. Because
Can I ask? Okay, so next time anybody asks you that after you produce this show,
I'm going to say,
just say this. If you get bit by one rattlesnake,
right,
can you get bit by another one and get sick again?
Sure, of course.
Yeah, venom and poisoning.
Yeah, we were under the different premise of a flu. Okay.
Slide 43.
Yes.
I want you to look at the top countries between 2016 and 2022 who have applied for the most patents of conotoxins.
Oh my
Look
God.
at this. China has 29. The United States is number 2 with 9. And you can see the list of all the countries there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Now, next slide, 44.
Whew.
These are the assignees. Those have been given patent rights for conotoxin production and the growth of those applications being awarded. Look who's got the highest percentage, China Ocean University.
Yep.
And then I want you to draw your attention down to the bottom. Why does Children's Medical Center and Clemson University, why do they need patents on conotoxins? Just a thought. The rest of them are all outside of this country.
Okay. Why do you think? Because they're doing something that'll specially target children to take children out?
Oh, they're obviously, lots of people need patents on conotoxins to develop drugs or biological weapons.
Wow.
Next slide. We're going to go back to now the biological engineering at Utah State University because I only got a couple minutes. Remember this statement inside of this article. They can synthetically make snake venom with E. coli, particularly the phospholipase A2 enzyme that the University of Arizona said is the enzyme found in rattlesnake venom that is inside COVID-19 patients who died and in their blood. Ready? I want you to look at the final slide that I sent you. It is the Time magazine cover from January 1999.
Yes. 99. Wow.
This says, "The future of medicine" is the title. The subtitle, read it out loud, Dr. Jane Ruby.
How genetic engineering will change us in the next century.
Okay, now I want you to capture the actual 2 words, genetic engineering, and how it will change us in the next century. Genetic engineering is what I want you to remember. Repeat it after me. Genetic engineering. Genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is going to change us in the future. Now look at the DNA strand on this cover, Jane. What does half of our human DNA, what's it going to change to in the next century?
Serpents and snakes.
The visual is half of your DNA is going to turn into reptilian DNA or snake DNA. Reptile DNA is what it looks like. Now go back to slide 45 that I was just showing you. That's the Utah State University study.
Yep.
I want you to read the last 2 words highlighted in the title of this study, Jane Ruby.
Which is the slide number?
Slide number 45. Last 2 words highlighted on the title.
Bear with me. Bear with me.
Okay.
Slide 45. Sorry. I know my producer's right with me. I am reading. What am I reading?
It's the Utah State University.
Gotcha. What am I reading?
I want you to read the last 2 words of the title that I highlighted.
Genetic engineering. That was not lost on me earlier. Genetic engineering.
Utah State University says they can make synthetic snake venom out of E. coli, and they use genetic engineering. What does Time magazine say in 1999? It says how genetic engineering will change us in the next century.
Yeah, they've known.
If they consider E. coli can make synthetic snake venom, and they call that genetic engineering in 2018, 20 years ago, Time magazine was making us aware they're going to be using genetic engineering to change us in the future.
Yeah.
It appears from this graphic and everything I just showed you, they are actually making the human body capable of creating venom. And venom in the human body, I've never known massive benefits and rewards from making the body generate venom.
This is how we're totally out of time, Dr. Ardis. This is how they're committing the depopulation and the mass damage. You've got to come back. We've got to talk about what you've laid out. And I know people are going to be very, you're going to be buzzing about this. Can you just give me 30 seconds of, how do we stop this now that we know all of this? Just give us.
One of the things you need to be aware of is that there are actually known inhibitory natural elements and treatments for envenomation. And we'll educate you on what those are in a future show.
Okay. Can you give us a couple of things? Because there are a lot of charlatans out there right now telling people that they can get this out of their system. They can get the genetic code out. They can detox. They can soak in a bath of bentonite clay or some other BS like that. And it's really making me mad because people are getting hurt. So give us
So let me give you a few of those. So one of the actual proteins found in all the Italy study patients from venom was snake venom phosphodiesterase. It is known that if you put in the human body glutathione, NAC, vitamin C, and EDTA, it destroys that venom component. Bradykinins is another venom component found in the bodies of the Italy patients.
Bradykinins slow the heart rate.
Bradykinins are inhibited by bromelain, aloe vera, and resveratrol, just so you know. So these are some of the things you should be putting in your body. It's already published.
Every day.
Please, medical professionals around the world, consider looking at your COVID variant patients in the future as weaponized, envenomated patients from all kinds of venoms, and then start addressing it. How do you treat an envenomated person? You already know how to do that.
Like I said, so we've had the conversation, man. The reason that you have not been able to connect with your family members, friends, and loved ones is because they have been under mind manipulation. A lot of them have had these parasites and things in them, man, that have pretty much have control. These parasites, I don't know, but I'm only speculating, guys, and we gotta be advanced in our way of thinking as well. Like, we cannot think like freaking civilians. We gotta start having military-like minds and thinking on along the lines of militant. Okay, and how we would operate if we were attacking or we were in an invading force, okay, which we've been infiltrated. I keep telling y'all that. So if you able to put these, we are understand. Let's draw out the lines and see what we got. If you able to, first of all, you able to implant mind control devices or intelligent life forms with mind control capabilities that you able to control and send orders and things to. All right, and these things take these orders and they deliver this stuff to your neurological system in your brain and pretty much take over. Okay, your family members and loved ones, they have fell victim to this mind altering, mind manipulation, MK Ultra, whatever. Okay, they are going to attack anyone and everyone that's given the message that they don't want you to know or want you to hear. Okay, they are going to push the agenda. You understand what I mean? So, like, for instance, I remember like early on when my dad, he took the walk, all right? And then when I talked to him, he was like, he got real aggressive with me and was trying to push me to take the walk. And also was trying to push me to take my son and everything else to take the walk. I was like, nah. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. But he was like, he like, me and my dad never had that kind of relationship, you know, where he really got like aggressive like with me, because we just really weren't on that level. But it was almost like he was a different person and how he was trying to push it to me and like advocating for it. You know, he already knew my stance on it. So him coming at me like that, it was like, no way, I'm not taking it. But I noticed like the aggressiveness and I noticed the level, you know, of intensity that the conversation had reached, you know, just based off of how he was thinking and moving now. Like, it was totally different. Like, his mindset was totally different than it was before. To whereas he before he didn't really, you know, take that aggressive of an approach. So I'm telling you guys, like, I believe, and we don't know, like,
Carol.
Check your messages, Tucker. I've been trying to get a hold of Ollie.
Come in. Come in. These are colleagues of mine.
Oliver!
He's fine. He's with Jean. Where are you going?
To get all these things. He's coming back with me.
You're very emotional right now.
What's going on, Tucker?
Why didn't you calm down?
I just saw a man die. People are dying. What are you really covering up, huh? What is it? You got people lining up like this is smallpox or something. What are you really inoculating them for, Tucker? Huh? Tell me. Open the goddamn door! Open the door! What's going on here?
When you wake up, you'll feel exactly the same.
Oh my God.
You'll be the same. Every thought, memory, every habit. You'll still be you. Don't fight, Carol. There's no need for it. All you have to do is nothing. That's all we're asking. Doesn't hurt. Watch. It's just like catching a cold. Too late, Carol. It's done.
We gotta understand this, guys. The towers ain't up for no reason. You understand what I mean? The towers are not up for no reason. And what I mean by that is people talking like, okay, it's gonna do something later on and it's gonna broadcast. No, I believe that the signal is being broadcast right now. The signal. Remember, these things are able to be connected through Wi-Fi. The connection, the signal being sent is going through Wi-Fi, but you need some kind of Wi-Fi signal strong enough to reach these things. All right? So they're being reached, they're being contacted right now, and they're not just being contacted for nothing. What are they being contacted for? They're being contacted to send some type of orders right now. The orders that's being sent right now has been to coerce others to take the walk, to obey, to adhere to whatever. Like, it's some people, man, that's completely, you know, I don't know if it just completely dumbed them down or what. But I was talking to a guy the other day. It was a guy from synagogue, and he was talking about how everybody in his country and stuff was afraid. He was saying that they didn't trust the walk and all that, and that the president there, he didn't really trust it and everything. But this particular guy, him and his family all took the walk, and they were they were like, he was like happy about it. You know, he was happy about it. And he was like, oh, the government wouldn't do anything to harm everybody. If they did something, it would hurt everybody. This is what he's saying. If they did something like that, it would hurt everybody. They wouldn't do that. So, yeah, guys. So, anyhow, what you're going to find is that with everything that they implementing right now, everything that we've been talking about is 100% right. All right. The tracking devices that they putting in people, which they've successfully done that. A lot of these people, like talking about homoborgenesis. All right. You're talking about a different race of beings, okay, that's got these alien parasites in them that's controlling them. I know this sounds like a sci-fi movie, right? Okay, but you got these homoborgenesis, right? They able to be controlled through the 5G towers, all right? You got these the Lucifer race that's running through these people's systems. Okay? Lucifer race. Don't that sound like a race of beings? A different race? You got Lucifer race running through the blood of homoborgenesis. Okay? That have these parasites. Think about that, guys. Lucifer race. Well, what would Lucifer race be? Obviously, like I've been trying to tell y'all, the connection between Lucifer and the reptilians, the reptilian race, they're trying to turn people into this new race of beings that is mixed with reptilian, like that are able to be controlled. All right, so how would you turn a regular person into somewhat of a reptilian or a demon? Lucifer race, that's, you're talking about demon. You're talking about Lucifer, you're talking about devil, demon. I told you about the Orion lines. I told you about the Orion belt. Okay, we know that the Draco reptilians are from Orion. You start putting it together. Okay, so they're creating a race of beings that are obedient to them. Okay, so the Dracos, they're creating the race of beings. That's why they're trying to force everybody, and they're lying to people, telling, yes, go take the wall, cause it's good, it'll do this, that, and they fooled all these people. All these people, these sheeple, basically they've been able to snatch their souls and confine them to this dimension. Okay, that's why you see these people, like I said, they swatting at the air and stuff like that, because they're being hijacked. These people are being hijacked. Okay, that's as simply as put as I can make it. They're being hijacked. They're being pretty much confined to hell. Okay, as crazy as it sounds, man, they're being confined to hell. When you look at it with the glasses on, with your shades on, man, you see this stuff for what it is. Okay, I've ran into people, man, that are awake, that know what's going on out here. Very few people, you know, that actually know what's going on, but it's enlightening, and it's very promising, though, to meet other people that do know what's going on, because it's very few, guys. You think about it, 70% of the population is already pretty much the walking dead. I know it sounds terrible, and I ain't trying to bring, trying to put a damper on things, man, and have you guys, like, I want people to enjoy yourselves for Thanksgiving and everything. If you go out and you celebrate the holidays, that's your thing, whatever. Christmas, New Year's, I'm not trying to put a damper on things, but 70% of the population, man, is looking like they're gonna be these dang homoborgenesis. On top of we losing people en masse. Like I told y'all, we up over 20 million deaths by now. We probably in the 30, 40 at this point.
I'm afraid to say, up until 1.5 years ago, I would never understand this. But now that I see what is going on, I have to admit that those colleagues and friends of mine who have been telling me that this is genocide may be right. They may be right. I don't know, but I feel in my mind that there can be no other agenda. There is no other explanation. There is no other explanation. Because it is clear that these vaccines, the gene-based vaccines, first of all, are not needed because we are not dealing with a killer virus that is destroying mankind. Anyone who says otherwise is obviously lying to your face. Second, it is obvious that these so-called vaccines could never ever have protected against infection because the antibodies are not there where they are needed, first. Second, because the resistance and the immunity to these viruses is not antibody-based. It is based on T cells that are present in every human being. And third, and the worst, is that these gene-based vaccines are the most terrible instruments that have ever been introduced into the human body to destroy humans, starting from the mind, going to the heart, going to the organs, and to the entire body. And these vaccines are going to destroy mankind.
Do you think that the totals will end up in the, you said it's millions already, and you suspect it will end up being billions of people killed by these vaccines. Is that your statement?
Well, if the boosters continue, my answer is, I'm afraid so.
Now, if y'all been following me for the last 3 years, then you know that that's what we've exposed pretty much, that yes, the gov is not on your side. We understand and know this, but these people have been completely oblivious to what's been going on. Now, the question comes in is whether these people became this oblivious before or after the walk, or was it other measures that was implemented before? Like we talk about the other immunizations and things that were implemented from back when this stuff first started. Like I tell you all the time, the agenda has been to cut off people from spirituality, but the highest level of intelligence has to come through spirituality. Your mind is the biggest power that you have. The pineal gland within the mind. Okay, if they attack that, if they messing around trying to get to the pineal gland and affect that, you don't think it's going to affect the rest of your brain and your power of thinking? Like what part of the lobe? Like I showed you the video, people like, oh, that's fake and that's just some movie. No, I keep telling y'all this stuff. They didn't just sit up there and put that stuff together for nothing. When the guy was talking about cutting off people from the God gene, cutting off people's spirituality, talking about they was religious freaks and stuff. We not religious freaks. Well, we are. We spiritually inclined. We spiritually connected. They want to cut that stuff off. Okay? And that's what they've done with a lot of people. They cut off people's spiritual connections, spiritual discernments. If Noah didn't have spiritual discernment, he wouldn't know what to do. Then Noah wasn't the only one that had spiritual discernment back then. That's why I keep telling y'all, as far as the Bible, you only got certain books in there. Noah wasn't the only person alive that could have wrote a book. He just one of the only books that you received. You understand what I'm saying? There was another woman that received that same message from God, just like you receiving this message from me. And I've been used by God to deliver a message to the people that are spiritually inclined to know or to receive the message. But you can't be spiritually inclined to receive the message if you've been cut off spiritually and you're unable to have spiritual discernment. So this stuff is going to go right over your head, which it does for most people, which is why some people didn't even notice. Like people go to church. I tell you all the time, people go to church and all that. That don't mean they're going to heaven. Well, what is heaven? Where are you going? What is heaven? Okay, I'll tell y'all about this. Heaven is the other dimensions. It's the upper levels. Okay, that's what heaven is. Like you can put your title on it if you want, if that's what you want to do, but that's what heaven is. It's the other levels that you can get to, right? But everybody can't go to the other levels. Okay, I believe there's 12, maybe 13 dimensions. I'm not 100% certain, but from all intel purposes that I've had, it's been up to 12 dimensions. So I'll say that. All right. So right now we on the third dimension. Okay, we operating in the physical. In order to be able to operate on function in the fourth, fifth density, you've got to be able to connect through your spiritual, through your pineal gland. Okay, through your spiritual connection. That's why they was talking about disconnecting people from the euphoric world. Okay, or they would only know that euphoric stuff. I forget what the guy Rudolph Steiner was saying, but it was something along them lines, right? Because if they able to disconnect you, then guess what? You cannot ascend. You can't go to heaven. You can't go to the fourth, fifth density. You can only operate in the 3D, right? And so that's what they've been trying to do. That's what they've been doing. So that's why these people can't even connect spiritually or have spiritual discernment, because they're no longer able to ascend to the third, the fourth, fifth, sixth dimension. They can't even do it. It's not even an option no more. You understand what I'm telling you? So that's what they've been aiming to do. That's what they've done. So these people are grounded. Hell. You understand what I'm saying? Hell is where you at. 3D realm. What is on the 3D realm? The demons, the Dracos, the Draculas, bloodthirsty vampires, whatever. Evil. Okay? This is Satan's lair. Satan's lair. Lucifer race. Dracos, Draconians, reptilians, trying to turn people to the Lucifer race. All right? Trying to turn everybody into these hypergenesis, where you're stuck here, your soul can't ascend to the upper dimensions. Like, man, I know this stuff sounds like a lot, man, for some people, and I get it, because if you just now tuning in, I hate to tell you, we ain't in Kansas no more, Toto. We sure the hell ain't in Kansas no more.
Yeah. We at war. We at war with terrorism, racism, but most of all, we at war with ourselves. God, show me the way, because the devil's trying to break me down.
If you guys didn't know, Kanye West is making waves all over the internet. And why? Because, of course, he's anti-Semitic. Haven't you heard? Well, let's take a listen for ourselves, and let's come to our own conclusions.
Another controversy for Ye, the rapper formerly known as Kanye West, faced social media restrictions over the weekend after users accused the rapper of posting anti-Semitic content, leading to a block on both his Instagram and Twitter accounts.
In the Since Removed post, West said that he, quote, was going DEFCON 3 on the Jewish people.
If you are an honest person, you did not think this tweet was anti-Semitic. You did not think that he wrote this tweet because he hates or wants to genocide Jewish people. This does not represent the beginning of the Holocaust. That's if you're an honest person, you'll admit that. You will admit that, right? If you're an honest person, when you read this tweet, you had no idea what the hell he was talking about. What is DEFCON 3? Did he mean DEFCON 3, which would be a military defense position, not an offense for those of you that are offended, a military defense position? Is he tweeting this because he's reading the Newsweek headline calling him an anti-Semitic? Is he angry because he can't believe that he's not free to talk about people in his life.
Because how could the richest black man ever be humble other than to be made to not be a billionaire in front of everyone off of one comment? That actually, if you look at the definition of DEFCON, it means to get extra defense, which obviously I must have needed. Yeah. I must have needed that extra defense.
Are you worried you ruined your legacy, Kanye?
How, Frank? Well, I'm not worried. I'm just not worried, period. God is alive. Amen. God runs the world. Amen. You know, God even runs Hollywood. Amen. God is alive. And he's using me right now. He chose me for such a time like this to basically for the media to put their knee on my neck. For Adidas to put their knee on my neck.
The Ye, self-proclaimed artist, is taking the battle to where it belongs. The elites, the people at the top of the pyramid. Yay, yay.
The first indication that West might become a massive problem for the industrial deception complex came in 2015 and 2016 when Donald Trump appeared. And West had a very strong gut reaction to Trump that was very positive, and the people around him were panicked by this. The last thing you could have is one of the most popular pop culture figures in America coming out for Donald Trump. So they applied intense pressure to get him back on the script, and apparently his wife was part of that, his former wife, Kim Kardashian, who West now learns had a very close relationship with the Clintons and people around the Clintons. He had no idea. His relationship with Trump, on the other hand, flourished, and he got a window into the people around Trump. And in this clip, you'll hear him assess what happened inside the White House. Very interesting. Watch.
It was interesting. A friend of mine told me that Chris and Kim had called him because he had influence inside of the black community and had called him to say, to get him to influence people to take the vaccination. Mm-hmm. And I don't have opinion on that. I just want to state that as a flat statement. But it was wild that I didn't know how close my own wife was to the Clintons. I didn't know, I didn't realize it at the time.
That you were married to her?
And I was married to her.
How close was she to the Clintons?
I mean, cell phone away, or hey, tell Ye to say this away, or hey, go out and use your platform to push the vaccination away. I mean, not away, but take the away part, but
Do you feel like at times you were manipulated by political forces through your wife?
They call him the black president. Clinton, his crime bills locked up more black people than any other president in history for victimless crimes. And people still running around here celebrating Clinton. You got to be kidding me. Besides the fact that him and his wife are the craziest people on this planet. They killed so many people it ain't even funny. Those people are straight hitters. Those are straight hitters right there. Research them. Over 200 people acquainted with them are dead. They gone. Those people are straight hitters. And people worshiping Clinton and all these damn people. These people don't care about you, man. These corporations and these platforms that we get on to make our money, they don't care about us. They only care about what we can do for them at that moment. And when they get good and ready, they'll rip the rug right from under you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Except start your own platform. Create your own platforms. Build your own networks.
And then after talking to them and really sitting with Jared and sitting with Josh and finding out other pieces of information, I was like, wow, these guys might have really been holding Trump back and being very much a handler right then. They love to just look at me or look at Trump like we're so crazy and that they're the businessmen. So when I think about all of these things that Jared, somehow doesn't get enough credit for with his work And what is it? His work in Israel or his work in Palestine? What is this? You know where he made these peace treaties? Where was that? Do you know the facts on this right here? So I'm like...
Well, I think that was between Israel and some of the Arab nations.
I just think it was to make money.
The Jews run the show in the world, not because they want, because that's what God wants. And it's written in the Torah that the non-Jews admit that is the word of God. If they didn't admit, what's the proof? But in the Torah it says that in every nation you will be, you will always be the highlight of the place. Even though we have very small community compared to America, 300 million Americans, 5 million Jews. There's no comparison. But the Jews are everywhere. Politics. All the assistants of Trump, Jews. All the assistants of Sleepy Joe, Jews. Obama, Jews. Everyone around there, Reform Jew.
On the face of it, QAnon is a Trump-era conspiracy theory. It's basically an ever-expanding web of madness designed to make Trump look as if he's fighting a secret global movement of evil child killers.
Miles from Hollywood, you are on notice!
But QAnon isn't as new as you'd imagine. It's basically a version of every old conspiracy theory. And at its heart is a thing called the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, the most damaging conspiracy theory in history. The Protocols of the Elders of Zion is a 100-year-old book. It's a book that was read by Hitler and a book that inspired the 9/11 terrorists. It is perhaps the most dangerous book ever published. The book claims to be a real record of a secret meeting. In this secret meeting, powerful Jewish people plot to take over the world, secretly start wars, manipulate banks and media, and form an eternal one-world government.
I talked about Rick Rubin. I talked about the 808.
The chakras is real.
Now, I'm gonna say some anti-Semitic shit. I'ma fuck your bitch. I'ma kill this nigga. That's the real anti-Semitic shit that the Jewish people get paid off of.
I don't know what's this opioid thing, man.
They seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup and.
It's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing, our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
But I have to. I can't give up on people.
Don't you think that's hypocritical though? You're saying the
it's
opioid problem's a problem.
opportunistic. Yeah. I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Why you see the same stereotypes of black and brown people depicted in hip-hop music? What if I told you that some of the biggest music companies are in cahoots with private prison owners, and that the rap music we listen to is not only meant to entertain, but to verbally and visually support criminal behaviors that funnel disenfranchised people into these private prisons? Lastly, what if I told you I have proof? In 2012, CoreCivic, formerly known as Corrections Corporation of America, the biggest name in the private prison industry, contacted 48 states offering to buy their prisons. One requirement of eligibility for the deal was particularly strange: an assurance by the agency partner that the agency has sufficient inmate population to maintain a minimum 90% occupancy rate over the term of the contract. Wait, faggot? What? What kind of legal and ethical measures could be taken to ensure the maintenance of a 90% prison occupancy rate? Now let's work together to connect these things. I'm sure you're a smart person. It won't be long. Let's do the work. In 2012, a mere 232 media executives were responsible for the intake of 277 million Americans, controlling all avenues necessary to manufacture any celebrity and spark any trend. Time Warner, as the owner of Warner Brothers Records, can not only sign an artist, but since they're also owners of Entertainment Weekly, they can also put an artist on the cover by next week. You think you choose what you listen to, but do you? Both BET and MTV belong to Viacom. Okay, now I know that's not news to some, but when the use of these media conglomerates is cross-checked with ownership of the biggest names in prison privatization, it's starting to get a little fishy. The largest holder in CoreCivic, formerly Corrections Corp of America, is Vanguard Group Incorporated. Vanguard is the #1 largest holder in both Viacom and Time Warner. Vanguard is also the largest holder in the GEO Group, the second largest owner of private prisons in the U.S. The overlap in private prison / mass media ownership is disturbing. Let's make this clear. The people who own the media are the same people who own private prisons. The exact same people. They make money from getting so-and-so from the hood to glorify the life they live. And they don't care about the impact it has on others because money is the motive. Then when the music influences others in criminal behavior, they make money from all the impressionable low-income people of color that are expected to go inside their private prisons. You can research these companies yourself, by the way, it's not hidden. Now, if you want to take action and stop motivated racist schemes like this from happening, we need to create a platform where the real culture of hip-hop can flourish. Hip Hop for Change has employed hundreds of people with jobs that further hip-hop activism in the Bay Area and are ready for expansion. They teach K-12 workshops that get children rapping, breaking, DJing, and doing graffiti as a means of positive, healthy self-expression. Amazingly, half of the 20,000 youth they've taught were for free. They don't turn down kids. They produce social justice events and support local artists who don't fit the corporate narrative. You can even listen to them every Sunday on Hip Hop for Change Radio on 89.5 KPOO San Francisco.
If you guys don't know anything about the contracts, yes, there are real contracts. And thank goodness for social media because people all over the world are posting their contracts.
400,000, just like I got 400,000. We signed the contract the same day. You got the same contract I got, except guess what? You rushed me to sign the contract because your mama was rushing me to sign it. So guess what you did? You signed my deliverables in your handwriting, right? Because you was rushing me. So you signed my deliverables. Kim Kardashian got her handwriting and her fingerprints all over my contract. When you look at the two, when you look at my signature and you look at her signature on my deliverables, that sex tape number 1, sex tape number 2, and guess what? The third sex tape or the second they've been trying to play me on called Santa Barbara Sex. Her mama made us go shoot it for safety. She watched the mother and said, hey, we're going to go with the first one because the first one is better. It gives my daughter a better look than the second one that I made y'all go do. But you watched it and made a decision.
The industry is a monster. Is akin to killing him. Do you know why he called himself the artist when he came back? He calls himself the artist because that's what they call us in our contracts. Oh, these contracts are crazy. You should hear the terminology they say in these contracts. To use your name and likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe. Who the could possibly know what that means? Nobody does. It's so complicated, in fact, that when you're a kid like me, you have to hire somebody to tell you what that means. And you sit down at a table and you do the contract game. And that's how I got with Comedy Central. I signed the contract. But I signed the contract the way that a 28-year-old expectant father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate. I needed a way out, and it wasn't good money, and it wasn't good circumstances, but what else am I going to do, I said. And all these white people sitting at that table told me, trust us, Dave, it's a good contract. And I looked around the table, and they all seemed to agree it was a good contract. But what if it was like that game of 3-Card Monte? What if they were all friends and I didn't know it?
All right, so it says, think about it, that sounds like the type of wording that's in the contracts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it says, such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions.
But isn't that what you said? That Jews run everything?
Yeah, but that actually is considered to be anti-Semitic.
Right.
So I didn't realize that it was anti-Semitic to say, hey, you know, I have a Jewish attorney, I have a Jewish record label, I have a Jewish contractor, I have a
Do you regret your statements?
But it's statements you think you should be walking back? I mean, considering...
What do you mean walking back?
Well, you know, backing up off of them. I mean, the thing is, you've lost a lot of endorsements. People are dropping you. You're getting, vilified. I mean, you might think you're right, but I think you know, there's a whole world out there that's condemning you for what you said.
Okay, so this right here is a chart of Universal Studios, 20th Century Fox, ABC News, CBS News, Columbia Pictures, Warner Brothers, ESPN Sports, Fox News, Washington Post, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MTV Music Television, Nickelodeon, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Comedy Central, NBC Entertainment, Google, what else do we have? Disney, ABC Kids and Family, YouTube, Los Angeles Times, Discovery Network, Paramount Pictures, Facebook, Huffington Post, Yahoo, Marvel, Hulu, Cosmopolitan, Time, Touchstone, Associated Press, Pixar, Miramax, HBO, New York Post, LucasArts, MSNBC, DreamWorks Animation. Now the thing is, I skipped over maybe about 5 of them because it was just unclear on this list. The red are the executives that are Jewish at these companies.
All the producers, the musicians, the designers, moved us all out to Hollywood, moved us all out to New York, chasing gold statues. Literally signing a contract and selling our souls. They got contracts out there that say, you can't say Jesus. When we was working on this album, people used to be coming over the studio just to say Jesus as loud as they wanted to. You can say Jesus in your studio.
We rappers as role models, we rap, we don't think. I ain't here to argue about his facial features, or here to convert atheists into believers. I'm just trying to say the way school need teachers, the way Catholic needed Regis, that's the way I need Jesus. So here go my single, dog, radio needs this. They say you can rap about anything except for Jesus. That means guns, sex, lies, videotape. But if I talk about God, my record won't get played.
Now, of course, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm in law. I have worked for Jewish lawyers. I have Jewish friends. I grew up in a very inclusive place in the United States. So, when I speak about this, I'm talking about the globalists. I'm talking about the elite. I'm talking about the Jews who sold their own kind into the Holocaust, right?
There was Project Coast in South Africa, and that was a bioweapons program that was targeted at the black community that we had people involved with. Larry Ford from Los Angeles specifically, who's dead now, a lot of suicides around this. But through the Truth and Reconciliation Committee of Desmond Tutu, we've learned a lot about it. And they were developing genetically targeted, racially targeted bioweapons. And they were testing it on the black community. And that's when all these so-called emerging infectious diseases came out of Africa. And it's kind of after we signed the bioweapons treaty that Nixon signed, and we got it across for 176 companies, and we theoretically shut down our stateside bioweapons program. But did we offshore it? I mean, I'm just saying there's a lot of things that have been going on that when you really put this all together, this didn't start 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It started 40, 50 years ago. And it's built on a bunch of lies, and it's built on a bunch of basic science that's still out there for people to look at.
You know, if you can offshore torture, you can offshore that too.
Offshore what? I'm sorry?
Torture.
Torture. Yeah, of course.
The detention camps all over the world, and there's such stuff. We have learned about this in the Council of Europe, and it's horrible. Just find a place where there is no one watching and do it and continue doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask something? So, if it's possible to target people like on a racial level, or like on a sort of like genetically specific aspects of people, like these different reaction of people, like the death rate with regard to these lots or batches, could it also be that it's a certain, that this would also be like an effect of like targeting people for some specific genetic aspect, or is that too far-fetched?
Well, I personally think that what those studies show about the toxicity versus the lot are really they've changed something as time has gone on, whatever they've changed to try and make it less toxic. It doesn't mean that it won't be damaging long term, but they don't want this short term toxicity because they don't want to get caught. It's kind of like the binary poison. You want the guy to die when you're far away from him, right? So I think there's a certain amount of that. But I will tell you this, that when this thing first started being talked about and this vaccine started rolling out, a friend of mine from Philadelphia sent me this paper, and it's in PubMed. You can find it. I've got it on my site, and it's talking about the racial specificity of the ACE2 pathway. And you know, that's where the spike protein hooks on, is to the human ACE2 pathway, which we don't have any coronavirus anyplace else that does this. SARS didn't do it. MERS didn't do it. Just this one. So I think maybe SARS did it, but it didn't. It wasn't any other pathway. So or any other coronavirus. So this thing was designed with this hook to get it in the ACE2 pathway. And if you look at the ACE2 pathway upregulation, in other words, how active that pathway, just like insulin receptors are active, the ACE2 receptors are active or not so active. It is racially different. Now, I'm not making any judgment here. I'm not telling you what this means. I'm just going to tell you the facts. If you look at that paper, the people that have the most upregulation of the ACE2 pathway, because some of this is kind of surprising, are white Caucasians from Europe, excepting Finns, not Finnish. And it's about 56% upregulated in those people, as well as in non-African blacks, 56% upregulation of the ACE2 pathway. Then it drops down to 39 or 36% or 39% in African blacks. And then it drops way down to 10% upregulation in Asians and Finnish. I mean, I thought that was kind of surprising. Who knew that the Finnish are genetically not the same as everybody else in Europe, but they have some genetic differences apparently. And then it drops down to 0. And the 0 upregulation are two groups, the Amish and the Ashkenazi Jews. There it is. I mean, I'm throwing that out. You can just, that's the fact.
Man, I love your show. I like
Thank
what
you.
you're doing. Really.
Thank you.
Right? That's why I came here. Fresh out of jail, I'll come check you out, right?
Right.
Why the bulletproof vest?
Oh, it's not. Oh no, that's just it's the new style. You've been in the can for a while. This is what everybody. That's what all the talk show hosts are wearing.
This is a new thing, right?
Yeah.
See, if somebody gonna do something about it, see,
Right.
technology is so high, right?
Right.
So if you shoot somebody, you go to jail forever. So the kids, you don't want to go to jail forever, right? So
Right.
they got this new thing out there. People sell them all the time. They got this stuff they call, they get blood from somebody with AIDS.
Yeah.
And then they shoot you with it.
Oh,
so
well, that
death
seems
don't happen.
bad.
That's
Yeah.
a slow death.
Yeah. Yeah.
An easy thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no.
Okay.
Way to lighten the mood. Wow. Well, Suge's terror alert level just went from elevated to high.
When like Nike would have shut me down immediately, right? But because Adidas was a German company, it gave me a little bit more room to be able to express myself and to actually have a political opinion as an American. That I wasn't forced into a political opinion because of the color of my skin. Now let's talk about the red hat, and let's talk about the similarities to the White Lives Matter t-shirt. The thing about the red hat that drove me to a point of exhaustion, which was misdiagnosed by I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media it went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor that diagnosed me of having a disorder that would have had me on medication right now. At a time like this, if I was on medication right now, then one pill could have been swapped out and it would be Michael Jackson and Prince all over again. But because I didn't take the misdiagnosis and I didn't take the medication, I'm able to speak to you guys clear of thought and transparently. Now let me talk about the red hat. Wearing the MAGA hat, the way that Hollywood's political agenda attacked me and put me to a point of exhaustion was death by 1,000 cuts. Everyone would say something to me, from a driver to my ex-wife to Adidas. Everyone would say something. So when I wore that White Lives Matter, I said, I'm not going through this again. I'm not going. Hey, Y'all gonna leave me alone about my t-shirt. Because what's the point of having influence and having money and people could come up and just pinch you?
But don't you think having influence, you have a responsibility?
And that's the responsibility that I'm taking right here.
Don't you think
that's why you asked that question?
But don't you think it's dangerous rhetoric to be anti-Semitic, to say all lives matter or white lives matter?
Come on,
no, I'm asking. I'm asking.
Let me answer.
I'm asking an honest question.
Why is saying white lives matter anti-Semitic? That's what you
no,
just
I'm not
asked.
saying that's anti-Semitic.
No, you just said that. Though.
No, and I
But you
misspoke. But I'm saying
no,
to
you
walk
didn't.
around
That was
with.
a Freudian slip.
I'm trying to correct myself.
Okay,
So I'm saying to walk around with
do you
white lives matter.
Do you want to walk back that statement? Exactly.
Sure, I'll walk.
You got the chance. You don't have the influence of responsibility.
Do you think maybe that? Do you think maybe that?
But I'm saying, you know, you're wearing the White Lives Matter shirt.
Come on, walk.
And Black Lives Matter, and a lot of people think that you're being anti-black by saying
no. How?
Come on, man.
Let him talk. In America, black people don't take all the rights that we have that are actually given to us. Because we weren't given what we were promised in the first place, which was the 40 acres. Instead, we were given...
And a mule.
And a mule. Instead, we were given projects and bad food and posters of Oprah Winfrey. And also Planned Parenthood. People said to me multiple times, visit the Holocaust Museum. I said, visit our Holocaust Museum. It's called Planned Parenthood. 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust, and I am sorry for your losses. 20 million blacks died to abortion, and Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger with the real KKK as population control. Margaret Sanger is a eugenics and is working today. The #1 cause of death for black people in America is abortion. The most dangerous place for a black man today, or black baby, black woman, is in their mother's stomach. And that is a programming that's pushed through, I got a new word for 2024, the red media. That is the red media. If you go to Apple right now, go to Apple Music. Let's load up the top 10 songs. I guarantee you they're promoting black serial killing. Absolutely. Not just one. They're promoting black. The red media is making money off of blacks being serial killers to each other. Also misogynistic. The red media is making money off of that. And God sees it. But I understand, and I'm not judging, because the oppressed becomes the oppressor. And it is our time now. Blacks are coming into money. We are not scared anymore. And I showed you that I crossed that line. They tried to bankrupt me. They tried to say I was crazy, and I'm alive. We haven't had a full black community since the gentrification of Harlem and Black Wall Street, which was torn down. But I know my brothers, my engineers, my architects, my farmers are gonna rise up. And if it meant they had to take me and drag me like Emmett Till in front of everyone because I whistled, I know my brothers, my engineers, my architects, my scientists, my doctors are gonna rise up and create a power that can make sure that we're not separated like we are by the red media. That we're never in a situation where off of one tweet, they could take the most influential black person in the world and run him to the ground.
With the Make America Great Again hat, what are you trying to do with the message you're sending?
Well, it was really just my subconscious. It was a feeling I had, you know, like people were taught how to think, we're taught how to feel. We don't know how to think for ourselves. We don't know how to feel for ourselves. People say feel free, but they don't really want us to feel free. And I felt a freedom in, first of all, just doing something that everybody tells you not to do.
I just love Trump. That's my boy. Like, you know, it's like so many rappers. You'll look at a video of Snoop Dogg loving Trump, but then he get in the office and now they don't love him. Like, Trump is one of rap's favorite people, right?
But we talk about this, that before he was elected president, people in hip hop, it was an in thing to put Donald Trump in your rhyme somewhere.
And by the way, I am in hip hop, but I'm not just in hip hop. I'm a black person in the black community, but I'm not just that. I feel like one thing is people try to minimize me to artists, hip hop, black community. Yeah, I'm always gonna represent that, but I also represent the world. When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all? You know, like, it's like we're mentally in prison. I like the word prison because slavery goes too direct to the idea of blacks. It's like slavery, Holocaust Jews, slavery is blacks. So prison is something that unites us as one race, blacks and whites being one race. That we're the human race.
אלוקים עשה אותם בשביל שיעשו פה... בשביל לשרת את היהודים. כל הגויים שאתה רואה שיש בעולם, המיליארדים האלה, הם הכל רק בשביל שהיהודים יהיה להם איזה תועלת. עכשיו, אנחנו לא רואים את זה, אנחנו לא יודעים בדיוק. היות ואנחנו בגלות, אז אוטומטי עדיין הם עוד לא משרתים אותנו לגמרי, רק חלקית. כל אחד יהיה לו, כשמשיח יבוא, אז כל אחד יהיה לו... יהיה לו אלפים עבדים, 2,800 עבדים.
בינתיים, המשיח לא כאן, אז איך הם משרתים אותנו?
הם בונים לנו רכבים, דירות, בניינים. הם בונים את זה. למה? משרתים את היהודים.
אבל יש גם יהודים שעושים את זה.
בקושי.
I'll ask in English. Do you believe that the Gentiles, the Goyim, will one day become the slaves of the Jews?
I believe it's part of the Torah.
אני חושב שיהודי הוא קצת יותר, כאילו ודאי שיהיה לי עדיפות גדולה הרבה יותר לעזור ליהודים מאשר לגויים.
למה?
למה? כי יהודי הוא אח שלי.
טוב, אני לא עוד פעם להביא את המספר המדויק, על כל יהודי אמור להיות 800 או יותר.
The Jews were behind the invention and creation of these COVID vaccines that are going to save humanity now. It was Jewish brains that created these two COVID vaccines. The Moderna vaccine, the chief medical officer in charge of research and development is the Israeli scientist Tal Zaks. Pfizer, who's the CEO of Pfizer? Albert Bourla, who is a Greek Jew. And the chief Pfizer scientist is Mikael Dolsten, a Jew from Sweden. The Jews were in charge of the research, the science. They were the scientists. They're the main researchers. Both COVID vaccines that are now going to rescue humanity, both were created by Jews.
The Jews were behind the creation of these COVID vaccines that are going to save humanity now.
I'm not going to get too deep into religion, but I am going to say I believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ. I believe that we all should walk on water. I believe it is up to us to expand the bread and the fish, to turn the water into wine. It is our job to become alchemists and save our own planet.
Kanye West, or Ye West, which, by the way, Ye, Y-E, that means you, okay, in Old English. So what he's saying is you. What he's calling, that's his name now. His name is you. You are his name. You is his name, which is pretty interesting because when you look in the, in the good book, what did they say? What does Jesus say? Jesus says, ye, Y-E, are gods. I think he's making a play, kind of like a double entendre on that.
Who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was. A god. I just told you. That's who I think I am.
And if this take away from my spins, which will probably take away from my ends, then I hope it take away from my sins and bring the day that I'm dreaming about. Next time I'm in the club, everybody screaming out. God, show me the way, because the devil's trying to break me down. The only thing that I pray is that my feet don't fail me now.
Joe the hell ain't in Kansas no more. So some of y'all, man, y'all gotta grow up. You gotta grow up quick. We ain't got a lot of time. We can't go back and rehash everything that we done been through to get to this point. All you gotta do, if you want to kind of catch up and speed up your learning, is go back and watch my videos that's still up on Rumble. So I don't know how much longer they're gonna let us be on there. You know, they already pretty much knocked me off YouTube for the most part. But we still functioning. We still here. But no, guys, this realm has been designated for the souls that continue to return. And people talk about reincarnation. It ain't no reincarnation. Bullshit. I'm trying to tell y'all how to connect the dots and put it all together. Okay? Reincarnation is a real thing because you reincarnate where? To hell. This is where, like, you got to be able to put the pieces together. You reincarnate to hell, to this dimension. This dimension has always been here. The people, the souls that are reincarnating that's coming back to this realm, they are stuck in this realm. They are stuck in this cycle. Okay? There's been life here for millions upon billions of years. And if you don't ascend, guess what? You come back to this dimension. If you do, you go on to the upper dimensions, right? These disasters, these life cycles that we have, the beings that's here that's been controlling this, man, they just reset the shit. That's what they do. The great resets or whatever, they reset, okay? And they run it back. They do it again. All right, and if you're fortunate enough to get out of here, you don't have to be stuck here. But their whole thing is making sure that people reincarnate back to this realm. And how they do that? By the distractions. That's why I tell you guys, even with the Bible, they have manipulated things in there so that you cannot reach the higher dimensions. They want you to operate and move a certain way and cut off your spirituality. And they're using certain things and certain methods in the book, and they've taken certain chapters and books out that you need to know to complete this process of ascension. Okay, so these beings and whatnot, like they said, like my guy Alex Collier was saying, they've went throughout the galaxy, throughout the universe, and they have pretty much manipulated different species and things and bullied them around for the most part to have this type of control over them, to deceive them, to trap them, to take over. They're part of the galaxy, the whatever planet they're on, whatever. Okay? And people are like, oh, well, there's no planets, there's no space. Bull crap. Bull crap. And I'll call bull crap on that, because what are we on right now? Whether it's I don't care if it's a spinning globe or sphere, or if it's a flat surface. It's something above this, right? It's something below this. Okay? So that would be your space, okay? And if this is a planet, then there could be other flat surfaces or whatever. If it's flat or if it's another, why does this have to be the only planet? Okay? Why does this have to be the only part of the atmosphere? So God is so great. People always want to say that, but you think he only created one planet? He only created one plane for people to live on? Like you selling yourself short even thinking like that. Like God didn't have to do that. Why did he do that? He put this together, but where was God when he created this? I keep telling y'all that. He wasn't on this planet, and God is what? God, I keep telling y'all this. This is why people get disconnected. They want to believe certain stuff. That's why you know you've been brainwashed to some degree. Because you don't even think right. Okay? Like, God wasn't here on this planet. If God is not from this planet, then he would be what? An alien. I keep telling you that. Oh, aliens don't exist. God is a freaking alien. Oh, God is not alien. God is an alien because God ain't from here. God is not like you. If you saw God, you seen something that was not like you, that wasn't you. That would make it an alien. Okay? This is the kind of stuff that people have to understand. And God has powers. Stuff that you don't have. That would be alien-like power. I know it sounds stupid or crazy because it's like alien, but okay, it is what it is. It's foreign to this planet, and it has powers and ability that you necessarily don't have. Okay, so you can start your understanding right there for a lot of this. But like I said, the planet and everything, guys, you gotta understand how it was put together, how it was designed. It ain't the first time, it ain't the first one. All right. Another key piece to all of this. Another key piece to all this, like I said, the demons, they're not of this world. You know, you can say interdimensional beings or whatever, but at the end of the day, they're not of this world. We're of this world right now, but we're not because we're spiritual beings at the same time. So they can be a little.
So in the UK, deaths registered for the week ending the 14th of October, 13,253. Not surprising, sadly, people die. We are a transient population on the surface of this planet, of course, and this is what we expect. But from years of data, we know roughly how many people should be dying, and we are way above that. 14.9% above the 5-year average, 1,719 excess deaths. Now, why this isn't being talked about, just imagine that there was a terrorist strike or some tragedy or a natural disaster, a tsunami or an earthquake in the UK, and 1,719 people had died. The press would be all over that like a rash. And on these excess deaths, you hear virtually nothing on the mainstream media. Suspicious people would become suspicious as to why they're so silent about it. Or just imagine there was a road traffic accident where 1,000th of that died and 17 people died. They would be all over that like massive coverage. But yet 1,719 people have died who we wouldn't expect to die in the UK. And we hear essentially diddly squat from mainstream media. This is very surprising. And deaths involving COVID-19 were only 4.7. Well, I say only 4.7. But we know quite a few of those were deaths with rather than from. And I'm just going to show you the graphic from the Office for National Statistics on this. This is the UK graphic. Now, you're probably familiar with this now. The excess deaths here in blue were from COVID, of course. We expect that. The dotted line is the 5-year average we would expect. And if we look at the most recent situation here, which I can, yeah, there we go. This is the most recent situation here. So what we're seeing is, this is the 5-year average. These are weekly bars. This is the 5-year average. These are data dropouts, of course, for bank holidays and such like. These are the COVID deaths. So all these deaths in green, above the 5-year average, are unexplained excess deaths. To the tune of, in the UK, 1,007.
Dr. Sushrit Bhakti, you've said it all. I mean, these people are, I mean, I at this point, I got to tell you, I mean, I look at this, I think I wrote you, I said, we are all pretending that this isn't happening, that these celebrities aren't dying over one by one, or they're passing out in their cars and going into brick walls at 80 miles an hour, or they're, or, you know, 17-year-olds die of a heart attack, and you hear, oh, they were great people. Oh, they were so good. Oh, that makes up for the murder.
hospital after reportedly collapsing.
Apparently, he passed away in his sleep while shooting a movie in the Dominican.
When crew members say he
rushed
collapsed
to the hospital after suffering a massive stroke.
The exact cause is not known, but in a Facebook post, the movie said it appeared to be a heart attack.
Partial vision in one eye in that moment. Her arm went numb, and then she really knew something was wrong when she couldn't speak the words that were right.
Suddenly collapsed.
The player collapsed
and died
after collapsing. He collapsed.
He collapsed.
He collapsed.
Seems that there's a second player who's collapsed. This is unusual. Never seen anything like this. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, what's happening?
That is the big question. What caused this?
There has been a sharp rise in unexplained deaths during the pandemic.
The number of deaths with unknown causes has gone up over the last 3 years.
Deaths that are not listed as COVID-related.
I'm sorry, I'm feeling really dizzy.
Healthy young people are dying suddenly from a mysterious syndrome.
Sudden adult
death syndrome.
SADS is an umbrella term to describe unexpected deaths in young people.
There is some evidence of some sort of delayed reaction to
Emergency Safety Group says the heart condition in adolescent and young adults is linked to the
chest pain, fluttering, and heart inflammation are among some of the new side effects announced by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control.
CDC now looking into reports of heart problems.
Are noticing some young men ending up with inflammation around the heart, causing chest pain and shortness of breath. Myocarditis is noted by the Canadian Pediatric Society as a possible.
The yellows are islands of dead cells.
Oh.
Scars. In a 77-year-old who never had anything to do with his heart, but his muscle was simply bedridden with scars. These scars were microscopic. Do you understand this? No one would have seen him if they hadn't opened up his heart and looked at these damn scars. How could the scars have come to be? Because that damn vaccine had been injected into his blood, caused his vessels to become leaky, caused the vessels to let that seep into his muscles. These are his muscles. Red, in between, these are the islands of so-called normal muscle, but they were not normal. In these normal islands, Michael Mertz found dead and dying heart muscle cells. These are number 3 and 4. And you go and look at this publication that is available to everyone in the world now. It's so damning. So damning. How can you go on talking about this? How can you go on without stopping this madness, this criminality? Stop Biden, stop FDA, stop CDC, stop the WHO. They are killing millions, and soon it's going to be billions of people on this planet because they are now trying to introduce mRNA vaccines for everything.
But what I was saying though is that it doesn't matter because there's gonna be so many people at this point that's gonna be dropping and things like that. Look at this. You see that? Y'all see? I just want y'all to see people still running around in masks and crap. These are sheep, man. She probably fully vaccinated, you know. But anyway, the point of the matter is they're not gonna be able to differentiate between who was vaccinated and unvaccinated, and this is being done by design because think about it. If you got everybody that's been vaccinated that's dropping and having heart problems and things like that, you need something to cloud that experiment. Okay, you need to basically dilute the control in the experiment. So what you're gonna have to do is you have to get another control group, and you need to pretty much implement another method or another I can't think what they would call it, but we'll just say you need to implement another drug, okay, another experiment, and combine the two. Okay, so what they doing is they gonna take the polio vaccine, boom, they put all that stuff, the same stuff in that, and now when those people start dropping and stuff like that, then people could say what? They unvaccinated. You get it? They're unvaccinated. They died. They were unvaccinated. They had a heart attacks and blood clots. They were unvaccinated. Yeah, because vaccinated only applies to those that have taken the walk. But if you take something else that's not considered vaccinated. You see?
Gaslighting the public. They just lie and lie by omission and lie some more and lie by omission and lie. And say nothing with the CDC saying, let's inject children now, put it on the schedule. Incidentally, the vaccine companies get some sort of liability over that. You're saying that people should just get together and put an end to it now?
Yes. Immediately. Get rid of the CDC, the FDA, the WHO. They are killing you.
That we need to incorporate into our ways of doing business, and of course in our health sector, where I've never seen CO2 monitor.
Omar, I'm sorry. My colleagues of the AMA, my name is Dr. William Bay, and I'm a GP registrar, and I'm here today to ask you to join with the people of Australia and stop forcing these vaccines on people who are getting killed by them. Dr. Professor Paul Kelly is a liar. He is gaslighting all of you, and there is only a 0.27% fatality rate with the infection, and natural immunity has been proven recently in a Qatar study that it gives you 97.3% immunity for life against all variants. All GPs, all doctors of Australia, you are on notice by the people of Queensland. This is the Queensland People's Protest, and you have been warned. Sure. It's on the doctor's cell. You have been warned. The people of Australia are hearing you. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4. How many shots before you hit the floor? 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4. How many shots before you say no more? 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4. How many shots before the people say no more? Case fatality 0.27%. Natural immunity gives you 97.3% protection for life against all variants forever. Look it up. That's the Qatar study. Look it up. The people need you, doctors. Don't let them down. Do not let them down. My name is Dr. William Bay, and I'm from the Queensland People's Protest, and I'm here to say that we must stand with the people of Australia and not let them get injured by this vaccine anymore. They cannot be harmed. They should not be harmed. We must protect them. We must protect the people of Australia. There is nothing scary about COVID-19 or the moneypox. Moneypox. What a joke. Nobody's scared of that. Why is that an international incident of concern? A public health emergency of international concern for 44 cases in Australia. We are not afraid. The people of Queensland are not afraid. And Professor Paul Kelly of the AMA, we call you out for the disgrace, for the travesty you have put on the people of Australia. So help you God. Thank you for being gentle with me.
It's in my nature.
Yep, so just being escorted now out of the AMA National Conference 2023 after exposing the hypocrisy of Professor Paul Kelly, the AMA leadership, Omar, and all the people who keep pretending that COVID-19 is killing you when it's the vaccine and the injuries that's killing you. You must stop the injuries from these mRNA vaccines. They are modifying your DNA. They are causing myocarditis, pericarditis, strokes, dementia. Just over here. I've been here before, yeah. If I could get my bag on the way out, that'd be nice, so I don't have to come back here.
You want me to get your bag as I'm throwing you out?
Well, I have to get it sooner or later.
That we can provide.
I do have a ticket for it. Yes, I'll just get it. Politeness always goes. 335, please, sir. So, yes, just getting kicked out of the ICC very nicely, I must say. Thank you, security. You've been very nice to me. Thank you for respecting my human rights. Thank you for respecting my democracy. This is the Queensland People's Protest. Stop 26, and we will not give in, and we will win.
So this is how you pretty much hide the truth. You taint the results. You dilute, and you pretty much sabotage the whole program, and that's what they're doing now. So it's important, man. I was just telling somebody the other night, don't take nothing. Do you understand? We are at war right now. Everything that they can get, that they can use, they're going to use. They're going to implement stuff. They're going to catch everybody off guard that they can catch off guard. I hope this message finds you in a place where you're still in position to have control over your life. Okay? Because you don't have a lot of time, man. It's a lot going on, and whatever happens, you want to be able to have your spiritual connection to the Most High. You still want to be able to leave this realm, okay? Regardless. Remember how they say in the Bible, you take the mark of the beast, you're not going to heaven. Okay, understand the Bible is a metaphoric message, okay? Yes, if you take the mark of the beast, you are not going to heaven. If they chop your head off, guess what? If you die, you will ascend. Okay, understand that. You will ascend to heaven. You will ascend to the 4th, 5th dimension. You will be good. You will be good. But if you take that walk, that's why I told you, those people that took the walk, they swatting this stuff at the air, because guess what? Boom. Spiritually, that's what they're seeing through their spirit. It's like when you open up the portal and everything, when your pineal gland opens and you ain't vibrating high, you start to see those dark entities. You see what I'm saying? What if they putting these entities right inside of you, which is these parasite things?
Security cameras from around the world are capturing frightening new footage of people collapsing in spasms on the ground in what may be the latest symptoms of exposure to the COVID-19 vaccines. One America's Pearson Sharp has more.
One America News has extensively covered the dangers of the experimental chemical injections the government is calling the COVID vaccine. From heart attacks and strokes to paralysis, neuropathy, and explosive increase in cancer, autoimmune diseases, and even sudden death, with young, healthy people in the prime of their lives simply falling down dead. The list of fatal side effects from these injections is truly stupefying. Well, now there are videos emerging of a terrifying new condition that's popping up all over the world. What you're looking at now is footage from security cameras that shows people suffering from the effects of some mysterious attack on their bodies. In every case, it follows the same pattern. The affected person stops what they're doing and looks around as if they hear something, slowly turning their head. Then they start flailing their arms and legs, kicking and thrashing like they're fending off some invisible attacker. This is followed by collapsing on the ground in a convulsion, writhing and twisting in uncontrollable spasms. The incidents of this bizarre and frightening new malady have come out of nowhere, and now it's being captured by CCTVs around the world. Now, to be fair, it's not clear if this vaccine death spiral is linked to the CCP injections. But when you consider the alarming number of other gruesome side effects from this vaccine, it's not hard to believe. As far as we can tell, this has never been witnessed before. And if that's the case, then we have to consider what could be responsible. Now let's think. What's the biggest new variable the world has seen in the last 2 years? Well, if you're not a brain-dead member of the branch Covidian Fauci cult, then the answer is simple. Nearly 70% of the world has submitted to the COVID injections. That's 5.3 billion people whose bodies are now struggling to adapt and overcome the so-called vaccine's toxic effects. And now we're seeing the results firsthand. Peer-reviewed studies show a staggering 94% of COVID injection recipients have abnormal blood that no longer functions normally. This is a picture of what normal unvaccinated blood looks like at 40 times magnification and was taken by doctors in Italy studying the blood of patients injected with the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Now here we have the same patient just 1 month after getting the Pfizer injection. You can clearly see the blood has been drastically altered, with researchers saying the vast majority of patients they studied suffered severe blood cell deformation after taking the vaccine. The researchers say metallic objects that resembled graphene oxide and other compounds, like you see here, were discovered floating in the blood. The scientists said they found extraordinarily anomalous substances in the blood, which began forming gigantic foreign structures. The researchers concluded by saying these results have never been observed before in any vaccines, ever, and that Pfizer and Moderna need to come clean about exactly what they're putting in the vaccines. They added that the substances in the vaccines are incompatible with normal blood flow. Those gigantic foreign structures seen under the microscope are wreaking havoc on the human body, and now coroners and embalmers around the country are discovering horrifying clots inside people's bodies. What you're looking at are the mysterious clots that are suddenly appearing in vaccinated people who later died, and medical experts say this is totally new. They've never seen anything like it until last year. Lab tests show the clots are made from something other than human blood. And embalmers say they're showing up in otherwise healthy people who suddenly died from heart attacks or strokes. And when they were examined, their veins and arteries were completely clogged with these strange rubbery fibers that can be several feet long. Even the young and healthy can be affected, like a teenage athlete in Ohio who suffered from a sudden pain in his legs and back and was rushed to the emergency room where doctors removed a mysterious 6-foot-long clot from his legs. After finding these massive clots, it's not surprising the FDA is withholding autopsy results from people who died after getting the Fauci vaccines. That's right, the FDA is actually refusing to release autopsy results of victims who received the experimental COVID vaccine. They don't want anyone seeing just how grisly the results are. Considering this is the crap that's floating around in the blood of everyone who got the Fauci injection, it's no surprise that life expectancy in the U.S. is plummeting at the fastest rate in history. In fact, from 2020 to 2021, life expectancy in the U.S. fell by nearly 3 years, meaning that people are dying prematurely at 35 times the rate they were before the vaccines were introduced. But these mystery deaths all have one thing in common, one common denominator. Every one of them received the new experimental vaccine. At some point, those responsible must be held accountable. The pharmaceutical giants who made these drugs, the media who pushed their propaganda, and the elected officials in Washington who made it illegal to refuse them. Until then, we, the people who trusted those officials, can only look on in horror and disbelief at the carnage being inflicted by the murderers we thought would save us.
They putting these entities in you, boom, now you seeing them, you swatting and everything, but you on your way out of there. Okay, you on your way out of here. Why is there a connection there? Why are people seeing things and then they die? Remember, like, guys, remember when people, you've heard of people dying and stuff, and they talking about, hey, Granny, hey, there go Uncle Mark. They start seeing stuff. Why? Because on their way out, that portal opens. They say, don't go to the light. Don't go to the light. Come back. Or don't go, because the portal opens to the dimension. So you start seeing those people, those family members, friends, and loved ones, the souls of those people, you see them. Okay, on your way up out of here. You start to see in the spiritual realm. Because why? Because your physical body is dying, so only thing left is the spiritual. And the spiritual is able to see through the spirit lens. Your 5D glasses, right? So at that point, when people get ready to die, you're going to see one or the other. You can see those dark entities that's floating around you. That's why they pay these artists to put out this bad music, dark music, low vibration, low frequency music. Okay? They want these spirits, they conjure up these spirits and things, these dark evil spirits and things to pretty much to attach themselves to your spirit. Okay? The same thing, just like when these people are dying and stuff, they swatting at things, they're seeing things on the spiritual realm. That's why I say this is a spiritual battle. People don't understand this is not a physical. It's a physical to some degree, but it's a spiritual first and foremost. Once you leave here, that's why the mark of the beast in the Bible, you take the mark of the beast, 666, they put it on your forehead. That's what they say in the Bible. Okay, what people don't understand is that things have evolved. Things are not being explained the way that they need to be explained for you to really understand it. Okay, and the interpretations have been off. The message has been off. The pastors are being misled. Okay, you can call me New Age pastor, whatever. Okay, I'm very well may be. I remember my mom said I was going to be a pastor when I was young. I don't know if I'll be considered a pastor, but I'm giving a message. Okay, and I feel that I'm being led and driven to do so. So, either way, like I said, do not take the walk. If you take the walk, your soul will pretty much be cemented in hell or on this 3D level. And I know some people don't want to hear this because some people are taking this walk, and I feel for you. But look here, I don't know if I can't say as far as when you reincarnate back to this world, if you're gonna have that second chance to get up out of here, or are you forever stuck in hell like it say in the Bible? You talk about the last days, the end of times. Okay, what is it supposed to look like? What is it supposed to know? People ascending to heaven or people being to hell? Okay, how can you be ascending to heaven? People keep thinking, I keep telling y'all, the Bible is metaphorically speaking to be interpreted that way. So if you are to ascend to heaven, that's got to happen through the pineal gland, through your spirituality, through your spiritual discernment. It can't happen no other way. Okay? So if you're not able to connect to your higher self, then you can't go. That's why some people are seeing certain things when they leave up out of here, because they are being, boom. You see what I'm saying? They've been delegated to this realm. Okay? But you take the mark of the beast, that's where you're going to be. You don't take the mark, when you get your head chopped up, guess what? You still ascending. You still leaving up out of here. So you got to fight back no matter what. And that's got to be your focus, is making sure that you fight back regardless of what's happening. You understand what I mean? So either way, somebody just threw my train of thought off of what I was saying. But anyway, guys, like I said, you take the mark of the beast, you're going to be pretty much stuck here. And they want you to take the mark of the beast. That's why they trying to force everybody any way they can. Okay? Once they got you stuck here, boom, you pretty much enslaved. Okay? But if they can't get you stuck here, then you gonna go. You'll go some kind of way or the other. All right? So I said, when it's like people expect the heavens to open. People expecting the sky to open and stuff, and you just float up. That's not how it works, guys. I'm trying to tell you, it's a metaphorically. Okay? It's metaphorically. You die, you'll go on up. You'll be fine. Okay? If you still here, you still operating on a 4D, 5D level. Okay? Your consciousness is what ascends. Your body ain't going nowhere. Well, what is conscious? Consciousness is spirituality. Consciousness is in the pineal gland. Like I said, that's what dictates, you being able to have that telepathic ability. They've tampered with it, so you don't got all your powers that you need to. But like I said, you can feel tension and stuff. You can feel when something ain't right. You have intuition. You know what to do, things to do. You gotta listen to your intellect, your intuition. You gotta listen to your spiritual self talking to you, telling you what to do sometimes. And I've failed my spiritual self before. I've done it and I've regretted it. I gotta start listening myself, and I'm doing better with that, because we so programmed to listen to what our mind, our eyes say, and our 3D selves. And we've been programmed not to listen to our intellect, our higher intellect, for those that still have that, our spiritual discernment, that God voice that's talking to you, that tells you what to do, that moves through you. Like, that's the one you got to listen to. All right. Like, a lot of us still have it. Some people have been cut off from it. Some people have none. Okay. Some people are depending on others to lead them. Okay. Others like me and you that still have a connection, that are still able to discern things. And we're not hypergenesis. Okay. I don't know. People say that it's possible that some of us are starseeds and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know why I'm able to see things where I see it, or way I'm able to put things together, or why we're able to avoid certain catastrophes and others aren't. We don't know how many real human beings or real spirit or soulless beings are out here, or how many real people with souls are still running around. We don't know. You don't know, man. We know that it's a very few of us that actually understand what's going on. I probably running maybe a couple hundred people a week, and maybe running maybe one or two that actually, it's like we connect and we're gravitated to each other. Like we make it, you know, it's like a attraction thing, right? But you can also feel when somebody's spirit ain't right. You know what I mean? You can feel that. Somebody's spirit ain't right. You can feel like, I don't need to be around this person. Like, I don't feel that this person don't feel right. You know what I mean? So, anywho, guys.
The spike protein is a toxin. So it's not, doesn't matter whether it's J&J, AstraZeneca, Moderna, Pfizer, they all make your body make a spike protein. That spike protein binds to a tumor suppressor gene family, P53. It also binds to the breast cancer gene, BRCA, and the ovarian cancer gene, BRCA. We know that spike protein can induce cancer pathways, period. It's happening. Cancers are on the increase across the board. Lymphomas, leukemias, blood cancers, because that spike goes to the bone marrow. The lipid nanoparticle carries the mRNA to your dividing stem cells, because it doesn't stay in the arm. It can go into any cell in your body, and it turns that cell into a spike factory. It inhibits the ability for your DNA to repair itself. It binds to our mitochondria, destroys the energy of our brain cells, destroys the energy of our liver cells, destroys the energy of any cell it gets into. Your own immune system attacks those cells. So a lot of people have arthritic pain, muscle pain. It's because those cells are being attacked by your own immune system because they're expressing this foreign spike protein. That spike protein causes mechanisms of cancer in many people. And I've been seeing that in the lab. I've been having it confirmed by oncologists, radiologists, radiation oncologists, pathologists all around the world as I travel. It is happening. It's on the uptick. Our military database showed it until our Department of Defense illegally froze that database and hid the data. This is a crime against humanity. We're using a dangerous product on humanity that is harming the human cells, that is harming the human body, that is harming our hormones, that is harming our reproductive organs, that is harming any organ where that protein lands, period.
What I keep on reiterating, guys, is that you got to interpret the Bible the right way. And you also have to understand that a lot of the Bible has been removed and a lot of the Bible has been tampered with. But the information and the messages are still there, and a lot of it does apply. Okay. Like I keep telling everybody, as far as the whole aspect of hell, I mean, I don't know what else you need to be here for it to be hell. People think that they're gonna burn an internal fire, like they're literally gonna be in a flame, a physical flame burning. That's not how it works. That's not how it's gonna occur. This is hell here, okay? The demons is here, the devil is here, the evil is here. I mean, you can look no further than the deception that's occurred amongst the people, the stuff that they're doing to people, the torture is here. Everything is here that would indicate that this is hell. Okay? The only thing that ain't telling you that for real, like word for word. Like people looking for like verbatim. They looking to see actually hell as in a burning fire. Okay? Just like you understand that the demons, the Dracos and things, they in the ground, man. They thousands of feet underground, miles, whatever. And they down there torturing and, you know, doing what they do. Sacrifices, whatever, man. You know. This is hell. And you don't want to be here. You don't want to have to come back to this place. You understand what I mean? So, people have to be able to differentiate between, you know, the physical reality and interpretation from the spiritual realm. You got to be able to put the two together and figure it out. Or you need to be able to separate the two, rather. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to be considerably misled and to believing and seeing things the wrong way. That's why I say in order to do that, you gotta have your spiritual goggles on. You gotta have your retrospects on in order to interpret things correctly or adequately, so to speak. Okay? So that's what we doing. That's what we all about doing, man. That's what I've been helping you guys to do from the beginning of this, you know. And believe it, these damn evil ones, these illuminated ones, they know this stuff, man. They know this stuff. You as the sheeple are the ones that just don't know it, you know. But us we are enlightened as well. We may not be enlightened in the way that they are, but we are learning, we're growing spiritually. We're growing and we're starting to understand and put these things together, right?